Bam, we're live. John, good to see you.
Likewise.
You look the same since the last time I saw you. You didn't even get any older.
That's a good thing, right?
Yes, you should be maturing. Can you grow facial hair?
I do grow facial hair, but
You do?
it doesn't grow in like Brian, so I shave every 2 weeks.
What's the weather like? What are you guys doing for weather there? Is Chicago getting destroyed?
No, it's sunny and 30 degrees. It's beautiful.
Wow. How about you? Where are you, John?
I'm in Houston.
Oh, what are you doing there? I thought you lived in like Iowa or something.
No, I moved to Katy, Texas, so it's right by Houston.
For work?
For life?
Your wife made you move?
Yeah, she got a job here, and so I followed her.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it. It's 70 degrees over here.
Didn't you just buy a house where you lived?
No, we bought a house here.
Oh, shit. Is that a good spot, Caleb? Where's Katy, Texas?
It's a good spot. I've been there.
You have? What were you doing there?
I have friends that live near there. Most of my best friends live in the Woodlands, which is in the same conference.
It's North Houston.
Conference. You're such a sports guy. No one refers to geographic areas as conferences. Conference. Same conference. Same conference. You're a scientist. You'd been like, oh, yes, I've been to that tectonic plate. Oh, okay. You live in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is south.
Yes, sir.
Well, I woke up this morning to an Amber Alert. Those are usually like, hey, someone's kid has been taken and they're in a Honda Civic headed south on the 1. But it wasn't that this morning. It was, hey, don't leave your house. It rained a shitload last night and there's flash flooding. It can't be flash. I live on a hill. I live 3 miles up a hill from the beach, from the Pacific Ocean. There will be no flash flooding at my house.
I can't believe that they don't know that about you, and it's just so irresponsible. They direct that message in your
spreading fear, just spreading fear. And my wife's like, hey, can we leave the house today? I'm like, of course we can leave the house today. Even my kids are like, hey, are we going to the beach today? I'm like, of course we're going to the beach today. No, Dick. There is no tsunami. It has to be an earthquake for a tsunami. I feel like we should put the phone number up today in case anyone wants to jump in and in case Mr. Young or Brian says anything completely irresponsible.
I think you promised that, actually, so you better do it.
Okay. Can we put the phone number up, Mr. Beaver?
Already? Maybe not yet. Maybe give a couple of minutes.
Brian, friend, why were you not on the show with Jorge Hernandez this morning?
Because you still don't know his name after talking to him for 2 hours.
Sorry, take 2. Brian. Brian, why were you not on the show with Jorge Fernandez? I called him Hernandez. God damn it.
I intended to be. Ended up having a production call basically for Wadapalooza.
How was that?
It was good, hopefully. So,
hey, John, when you drink that, you should put your lips around the whole bottle. Like you should, you know what I mean? Just
It's more efficient.
Yeah, it's totally more efficient. That's the way all the cool kids are doing it. I want to ask you guys a serious question here. A little off topic, but on topic. This is we'll start with an op-ed shit before we go into sort of the picks.
Those are also op-ed.
Right. Yeah, okay. Good point. I'm becoming irritated by the fact that there's $75,000 on the line for the women's, and that the best competitor there is a 16th place finisher at the CrossFit Games 17th, outside of Emily Rolfe, who had to pull out of the games, who I do think has a good chance of winning this. I mean, she is a straight legit savage, but what the hell is going on? And I even want to throw this down to the masters, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are masters women's competing, but can't the champ of the 35 to 39-year-old division at the CrossFit Games female come over here and win this?
I've already talked about this a little. John, you want to weigh in?
You have?
And Amelia is competing in the team division elite. not
Like,
as an individual.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I think-
Amelia, I don't mean to pick on you, Amelia, because I don't know you particularly as a complainer, but I feel like the Masters are some whiny little bitches, and they're always complaining there's not enough competitions, there's not enough money. Come over and get this shit. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think Amelia would be very competitive in the individual for Wadapalooza. I don't think she would win, but she would be.
Fourth place is 10 grand, John. Fourth place is 10 grand.
Yeah, no, she'd make more money than she did at Masters, probably, right? What did they pay Masters winner for 35, 39?
I think that's up to maybe 15 or something.
At the games?
I mean,
10
that's
grand, you could
twice
get
what
new
you're
tires
getting
on my
paid.
Sienna. You get new tires on my Sienna. Go ahead, John.
Yeah,
Bigger.
I don't see why they don't do it. It frustrates me too. It's more frustrating because the men's side is so stacked. If it was the same, it'd be like, this is what the competition is. But it's like all the men have agreed that all the best guys are going to do it, and all the women agreed that none of them are going to. It's odd. Maybe Brian knows more, but like, is that not what it seems like? It's very odd.
Okay, let's pick on Emma McQuaid for a second. Didn't she win this last year?
She did.
Yeah.
Why isn't Emma coming here to defend her title and get her money? Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe Emma's making $3 million a year from Noble, and they're just laughing like this guy doesn't know shit.
Well, that's what we don't know, and I've talked about this before. I mean, and I know in the disc golf world, for example, which I've often drawn parallels between CrossFit to, because especially in the financial realm, there's not a lot of money available in disc golf for winning competitions, but there's becoming more and more opportunity for disc golfers at the top to make money through YouTube channels, sponsorships, endorsements, partnerships, brands, etc. But those are public. Like I've mentioned it before. Paul Macbeth last year is a 6-time world champion, signed a $10 million 10-year contract with Discraft, one of the providers.
Are you kidding me?
No, I've never seen anything that says Matt Fraser signed a contract with Nike for X money. I have no idea what Matt Fraser or Tia Claire Toomey or Justin Medeiros or Katrin Davidsdottir or Annie Thorisdottir makes with any one of their sponsors anywhere. So that is information that we don't have. I know there are people that I know who have that information, but I don't have that information. And so I can't really assess their financial decision-making based on that. What I also know about disc golf is those guys are still showing up and competing. And I think that part of their contracts say that you have to show up and compete a certain amount of times. We're paying for you to be out there throwing our discs so that other people want to throw our discs. And if you're Noble, Tier, whomever that's sponsoring these athletes, hand grip companies, belt companies, whatever, you could have some exposure at just at the Instagram social media level. I'm lifting with my Pixel belt. I'm doing my Bear Complex grips, and you can have these posts, whatever. But going out there and putting the product on display at a competition, I would think would be part of the deal. So maybe they've already met the prerequisite for the number of times they have to compete in a year, and then that's not a factor either. But I just can't, I mean, and so all of these people are competing this weekend. Emma McQuaid is competing on a team of 3. Amelia Lepinen, who won the Masters division and qualified for the games the year before, is competing on a team. But even if you win the team competition, it's $30,000 for first place. That's split 3 ways is 10 grand, assuming that you're not giving any of that money to anyone else. Maybe I don't know how those things work. Coaches, sponsors, whatever. So if you win first, then your share of that is equivalent to taking 4th in the individual division. And I think it's way harder to win the team competition than it is to take 4th in the individual for the women.
And I don't want to take anything away from Wadapalooza, by the way. This is going to be, without a doubt, no questions asked, the greatest team event in the history of the sport. Sport's been around, I don't know, let's say since 2007 when the first CrossFit Games were, 2022, 15, 16 years in. This may actually finally put teams on the map. This is going to be amazing. I give Wadapalooza a lot of credit for it, for seducing those guys down there, but also the way they organized it by making it days 3 and 4, and then also by making it same-sex teams of 3. Everything that they've done has made, and the media coverage that they're going to get on the event, everything has made, they take a lot of credit for making this the premier team event in the history of the sport. Agree or disagree, Mr. Young?
Oh, I agree completely. And the way they set it up, like the games can't do this. Like we get to see truly the fittest in the world on a team, and the teams go together, and they're all the fittest people in the world. It's not just, rich who could compete in individual, and then everybody else, which is what the games is in a way. I know Annie had a team together this year, but usually there's 2 teams that are competitive, and then it's just kind of everybody who couldn't make the games. I know that sounds
the
bad.
games team event is just basically, we've just viewed it for the last 10 years as where you go to test Rich out. There's Rich and then the guys who are testing his fitness.
Yeah, exactly. And like, this is the first time, I mean, we get to see Jeff Adler, Brent Fikowski, and Patrick Vellner against Noah, Chandler, and Travis. Like, it's going to, and we see that on the women's side too. Laura, Jamie, and Gabby are on a team, right? Like, just to see them go against freaking Katrin, Annie, and Mal, that's going to be awesome. But I do think like they're missing, I think Laura and Mal and Haley are like missing a huge opportunity to, like, if any of them did individual and won, it kind of like puts a stamp on, this is going to be my year. And like, you can make so much money just off of Instagram, off of winning Wadapalooza, because Tia's out. You can make a stamp on individual, any of those girls, if they were to do it, if they ran away with it and won it, and none of them are taking that.
I just noticed this comment from Barbell Spin here about the order of operations, so and that the teams are going second, so that would be kind of the premier competition for the weekend. We spoke with Vellner yesterday, and he explained that, he communicated to them, I won't do the individual competition if I have to do the team first, but if I do the individual first, I'll be willing to do the team. And I think a lot of athletes had that sentiment, so that may have been one of the deciding factors. It is noteworthy that it is being billed as the premier competition. I think there is more excitement in general for the teams and the individuals as a whole, but the prize money is still significantly less. If you win it there, you're taking 10 grand a piece as opposed to taking 75 grand if you win that. So I'll be curious to see if they roll this format back next year, if they also have a shift in the allocation of the prize money.
But Brian,
wow. I didn't even think of that. Sorry. Go ahead, John.
Do you think, though, like for this year, it's kind of a trial run, and if it's super successful, that would make money in the long term? So the second time around, they could have 60,000 versus 30,000, and it continue to feed the chain because everybody wants to see the best go at it. The first time around, there's just not enough money to make it. You know what I mean? This is.
I think that's what Brian's saying. Like, if this is successful, they might take away some of the money from the individual next year.
No, I'm saying just more money in total.
Oh, well, more money is always the problem, right? These guys are already on the team paying $430 a pop to register. $430 a pop. I'm not against that, by the way.
It's per individual, so that's over $1,200 per team. Yeah,
I don't think that's too much, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not slamming it, but it is real money, and it means you have to be serious. If you're serious, it's for serious competition. But you do get to compete, like with what you said. You get to go against Fikowski, Vellner, and Adler. This could be just like a once in a lifetime chance for people. So, and as the viewers, you're crazy if you don't watch this. Sit down and watch the teams all week. It is gonna be. God, I hope the coverage is good. It should be just as
exciting as individual.
Yes,
and yet,
I can't believe I'm agreeing with you when you say that. I cannot believe I'm agreeing with you.
Should we get to the individuals then?
Oh, hold on. But let's get to the individual. I do want to say this, though. For those of us who have accidentally or purposely become diehard fans of the games, I want to say that, and these are guys we'll talk about. I'll pry into John and Brian. But these are the people, when I see Sarah Sigmundsdottir, Olivia Kerstetter, Emma Carey, Sydney Wells, Brittany Weiss, and Amy Kringle. And Amy Kringle, just because I want to have someone on from the Isle of Man, because that's like the ultimate click-through rate for YouTube. If you get people to watch your YouTube channel from the Isle of Man, you make the most money out of anywhere on the planet. But Brittany Weiss, Brittany Weiss, Sydney Wells, Emma Carey, Olivia Kerster, and Sarah Sigmundsdottir, I am so curious. This is going to be extremely telling for me as a fan.
Where are you getting that list from?
I made it up.
Oh, you didn't even mention Emma Tall. You're like the morning chalk up.
Oh, that hurt.
I thought you might have gotten your info from them.
That hurt. Good. We'll start with Emma Tall. And then on the men's side, I'm very curious about these guys, Fabian Benito, and Nate Ackerman, Luke Parker, Saxon, Panchik, Vellner, and Fikowski. And I've
not competing.
He's not.
No.
Well,
Where'd you get that from?
Problem morning chalk up. And then this and then for the and then I have some questions. Where the fuck is Ellie Turner, Andre Houdet, and Jack Farlow?
So, okay.
Where the
First of all,
fuck are
to be
they?
fair-
I am a fan of the sport, and I want to see you guys compete at Wadapalooza individual.
I should say this to be fair. Even the rankings that I put out yesterday, the predictions I put out yesterday are also inaccurate. There's just, in terms of the list of athletes on there, there's someone that's listed that's not on there. The rosters are constantly changing, and it's very difficult to keep up. All of us are trying to do our best. So,
By the way, I like that. I like that. Let's talk about these three people though, really quick, that aren't competing that I want there. It may make me happy. Why not Ellie Turner? She can come there and get that money.
I think this would have been a great opportunity for Ellie. I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay. Houdet.
Houdet, I do know some stuff about, not at liberty to say.
Okay. And Jack Farlow. He's too busy. He's like, he's folding Emma Lawson's clothes right now. He's packing her bag for the games right now.
No, Jack had an incredible opportunity to compete at Rogue. I think he knows that he's within that like touching distance of potentially being in contention for a game spot, and to maximize his opportunity at semifinals, no competitions between Rogue and semifinals makes sense for him.
Okay. So you think Olivia's just taking the opposite route then? Because I would put her in the same category.
Kerstetter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's is choosing to compete. I mean, she's in a different category than Jack because she always has an out to compete in the teenage division.
But she's not.
I know, but if she doesn't make it at the individual, she has that as a fallback. Jack doesn't.
Jack. Here we go. Jack Farlow doesn't qualify. Doesn't qualify and didn't do qualifier path. I don't care. He should have done it. I want to see him compete. I want to get on the Jack Farlow train.
Oh my god!
And I want to see Ellie Turner. I'm so curious how that's coming with Justin. What the hell's going on over there? Is she getting better? Okay.
At Rogue, they kept calling him Jack Harlow for like the first 3 days. It's like the last day they said Jack Farlow, the announcers.
At the games?
At the Rogue Invitational. They said Jack Harlow for 3 straight days, and then they finally fixed it. It was hilarious. You said Hernandez, so it made me think of that.
Fair. I'll give him a pass only because I screwed up. One of Olivia's weaknesses is elite comp experience.
Could say the same for Farlow as well, though.
Devesh Maharaj, the Hammer, as he's known amongst his friends. Sevan, what's it going to take to get you to the games this year? Fucking a G5 and a suite at the Four Seasons
and a McLaren
and a handy. Okay, 75. I'm from the. I was born in 1972. $75,000 for first place, $35,000 for second place, $25,000 for third place, $10,000 for fourth place. Shall we start with? Oh, by the way, and a lot of this information, I want to thank Jason at CF Media and Dex and Lauren at the Morning Chalk Up. I watched a bunch of their content yesterday to get up to speed. How do you want to do this? You want to start with the women or the men?
Yeah, one or the other. But before, let's do the men first.
Okay.
Before that, just
wait, one more second. One more thing. Sorry. Colton Mertens, not at the.
I was about to address that.
Okay.
There's several athletes that people have been inquiring about that look like they were going to be competing that are not on the men's side. They are Colton Mertens, Cole Sager, Enrico Zanoni, Yorgos Kervis, and Austin Spencer. So none of those guys are competing. Austin was included on my list. He's not going to be there. And the other 4 I'd already known weren't going to be there.
And do we have any update on the most important on the list, Mr. Colton Mertens?
No, I haven't really inquired too much as to why, unless I was told specifically why. Okay.
We'll have to reach out to him. Hello, Gabe, Paper Street Coffee. Go over to Paper Street Coffee. Don't spell out street, PAPERSTCOFFEE. Use code Sevan, get 15% off. The more money you spend over there, the more I can twist his arm and get sponsorship.
Hey, Sevan, do you think you can get Colton to live stream doing the squats and rings workout simultaneously while they're doing it at Wadapalooza?
I do.
Because I think he would win that workout if he did it.
Is that true, Brian?
I don't think he would win it.
Okay.
It'd be a fun show.
Did you say? Another interesting character we have is Rebecca Fuselier competing individual?
She is.
Yeah, so excited to see her. For those of you who don't remember who Rebecca Fuselier is, she was on the show, amazing guest, and she was the last finisher at the Capitol event at the 2022 CrossFit Games, where a lot of those iconic pictures that will probably last forever, where the entire crowd has swarmed her, like the Tour de France style, and she's just warring, and she's a tiny little girl. So she's going to be out there with the big girls. Any chance she'll be in the top 10 individual?
We'll
We'll get to that.
Okay. All right. She's from Texas. Okay. Maybe like a people's champ. Rebecca could be like a people's champ, right? Even if she never wins the games, as long as she keeps going to the games, she could really develop quite a huge fan base.
Who would you say the people's champ is now? Valerie?
Mertens?
Mertens? Is there one for the women's though?
He's thinking hard.
I don't know. I mean, no one's taken that sort of Dan Bailey, Josh Bridges. Noah kind of was that, but then he got too big. You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking on the women's side though. Like,
I feel like you got to be a little small. Yeah, Olsen. I think Olsen got too big. I think that like to be a people's champ, that like one of the characteristics is like when people find you and start liking you, you're small time still, like more like a Colton.
Mertens is
like Nick Matthew.
Nick Matthew.
Yeah, I guess Nick Matthew.
Like
not my favorite pick, but yeah.
But more like that caliber instead
of
a Noah Olsen who's got a podium finish at the games.
Yeah. I think the LGBT crowd could rally behind
Ariel
Nick
Lowen.
Matthew. Ariel Lowen, yes. Ariel Lowen is more
She's
niche.
top 10 though.
Niche, because she got the mama Christian thing going. She's like Travis. They're more niche. Travis Mayer, more niche. I was gonna say fetish, but that was different podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Sarah. That's an interesting. Then you have these weird outliers like Sarah, who has an enormous following, but basically we were starting to view her as a horse with a broken leg, and we just want to see her cross the finish line, and that's kind of what the people's champ is. It's kind of like
it's terrible how accurate that is.
That is one of the characteristics of the people's champ. You don't really care where they place; you just want them to finish, and so that is you want them to qualify and then just finish. Cody Anderson could have been one.
Danny Spiegel,
but once again, more for a niche crowd. She's not like the full blown.
But if I think about being live at a competition, then if they're doing individual athlete announcements, and like Sarah and Danny get bigger cheers than almost anyone. I mean, Sarah gets as big a cheers. Literally
2015 through 2018, Sarah, I think, had the biggest fan base out of all of the girls. Even bigger
longer than that. Even at the sanctionals when she would go to him, I mean, it was insane. They'd announce her, and it was louder than Tia even.
And I heard it was like that at the games with Danielle Brandon, but once again, she probably is leaving sort of the people's champ since she took fourth at the game. She's sort of leaving that people's champ. There's a little bit of a pity party for the people's champ. It's like, they can't win, so everyone rallies behind him. Like a Muggsy Bogues or a Spud Webb, like a guy who's in the NBA who's 5'4". Like he got some court time and you're excited. Or like that Asian guy, Lin. Do you remember him?
Jeremy Lin.
Yeah.
Sanity.
Yeah. It's like, oh, look, there's an Asian guy on the court.
Those are impressive callbacks, Sevan.
Thank
You
you.
a basketball fan?
No.
He's a sports guy. He speaks in conferences and districts instead of tectonic plates.
Yeah, where do you live, Sevan? I live in the Western Conference. Okay. Wadapalooza Individual is happening on Thursday and Friday. Stay here for all your coverage. We will be digging in. We'll have cameras roaming around. Make sure you visit the Vindicate booth and the Paper Street Coffee booth. John Young, you will not be there, right?
I will not, no.
So hopefully John Young will make some special guest appearances on this show. Brian Friend will be on the ground there along with Matt Souza. And we turn to the women. Is that which sex we're doing first?
Whatever you want.
Women it is. Should we start at the bottom of the list and work our way up?
Nah, I think for time's sake, we probably can just. Well, yeah, sure.
Okay, let's do it. We'll race up.
Okay.
David Weed, Danielle Brandon is never going to win anything. She won my heart, so that's something. Won my heart, and I bought a pair of toe spacers.
Now, before we get going, Brian does know the events, and I don't know the events. So there's a little bit of a caveat there.
Have the events not been announced?
Some of them have.
Some of them have.
I also want to mention this. I'm probably going to say this wrong. Brian will correct me. There will be cuts after the 5th event, and there are 8 events total. So that's something to keep in mind. That if
I
fucked that all up. I blame Lauren. I blame Lauren from the morning chalk up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know how else to say this. There's a lot of inaccurate information that's being put out there. The way that you just said that is very confusing. And you're putting me in a difficult situation, but that, how you said it, is not accurate.
Okay. But you can't reveal more, or else you'll have your media credentials. You get slapped around. Like you got fired at the games that one year for pointing your camera at the Masters.
Also your fault.
Fair.
There will be cuts before the last time the athletes take the competition floor. And they're taking the competition floor 6 times, but there are 8 events.
That means the last event is going to be a 2-event thing.
Or 3.
Doesn't necessarily mean either of those things.
But that's what it is.
Too harsh, Judy. Too harsh. Not like CNN. Patrick Clark, he will be probably hand in hand. He'll be the guy holding hands with Brian at the event.
No, you won't be able to ever find us in the same place because we'll be dividing and conquering, Sevan.
A lot of inaccuracies. Patrick agrees with you. How often do you talk to Patrick Clark on the phone?
More than you.
All right. More than you talk to him more than me, or you talk to him more than I talk to him?
I don't think you ever talk to him. I talk to him more often than I talk to you.
Okay.
But he's not in my favorites like you are.
Good. I asked Brian to put me in his favorites because it always goes to voice message if you're not. Don't get Brian into trouble. We need him. Okay, fine. Heidi will also be there working with the Sevan Podcast. Thank you. Okay, so the women's competition, 38 competitors, did I see?
That's currently, I believe that's the correct number. Yes.
Could people still get in? Every time I say Ellie should be there, someone's like, but she didn't qualify. But Wadapalooza has the right to just invite her, right? Or if she's there and she just...
Ellie Turner?
Yeah.
My understanding is that she could just show up on Wednesday and say, I want to compete, and they'd give her a spot.
Because of her placement at the games?
They've done that in the past. And yes, if you were competing, or if you qualified for the 2022 CrossFit Games, then you get a direct invite to Wadapalooza.
If you qualified for the games?
Yeah, any of the women that qualified for the games have an invite, a standing invite to Wadapalooza. I mentioned it before. In 2018, the day before the competition began, Katrin David's daughter told Wadapalooza she wanted to compete. They announced her that night as competing. She showed up and competed and won the competition.
That's an easy payday for Ellie, then. She should do that.
What a badass. Good job, Katrin. Sevan is so jealous of Patrick. We'll talk to me offline about that. I need some counseling. Okay, sorry, Caleb. I know we're all over the place. It's Brian's fault. Okay, 38, 37, 36. I can't say their names, and I don't know who they are.
One of them, Lucia, came through the qualifier. The other 2 came through a different qualifier. Fernanda was the winner of the Argentina Throwdown, which is a direct qualifier if you win that to Wadapalooza. And Constanza won the Fitland competition. Credit to Mike Halpin for a lot of the information I'll be sharing today.
How many events are there that are qualifiers for Wadapalooza?
That is a difficult question to answer, but Zelos Games online winner, Madrid Championship winner, Fitland, Black Challenge, Argentina Throwdown those are definitely 5.
Does Dubai count?
Don't think so. Actually, I know it does not.
So that's pretty cool. That's a lot of collaboration between the events because they're not necessarily affiliated with these events at all, right?
No, I think that this is a majority of those. So Madrid's obviously in Europe, and it's Loud and Live has an affiliation with them. A lot of the other ones are South America or Central America, which is part of the world that I know Loud and Live in general and Loud and Live Sport also are trying to help, build up as part of their within the fitness world.
I'm going to suggest that where's that Black Challenge event? Where's that out of?
Not sure.
I'm going to recommend that they have an off-season event and they call it the White
I think it's
Challenge.
in Mexico, actually.
All right.
Yeah, I think it is in Mexico City.
And they should have called it the Brown Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 38, 37, 36.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the field at Wadapalooza is big. There are about 40 men and 40 women competing. And, basically you have, for the women at least, I think there's like a 10 or 11 games athletes there from this past season. Then there's 20 qualifiers. And then there's these other qualifiers who won some events in the past, including, like, for example, Olivia Kerstetter and Emma Carey qualify for this event by being past teenage champions at Wadapalooza. And Sarah Sigmund's daughter qualifies for this event going back to her third place finish at the CrossFit Games in 2016. So there are a lot of different qualifying paths.
So it's not that you were invited to the previous year's games. It's any games. James Fitzgerald could show up.
CrossFit Games champion. I'm not sure if there's a expiration date on that or not.
Okay.
I mean, if it's not 2016, why would it be 2007? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Brian, as we go down this list, since I don't know some of these names here at the bottom, tell me if there's any, or tell me the first one that you see that actually has a chance of going to the CrossFit Games. Has a chance. Not has been, but has a chance as an individual. Okay, let's go. 35, Becca Merritt, Madeline Helms, Lexi Neely. 32, Cecilia Ramirez. What's the ratio here of foreigners to Americans?
For the women?
Yeah.
Let's see if
I apologize for calling you foreigners. I should just say Americans to non-Americans.
Maybe Halpin can get that quickly.
Half and half.
I think that Alexia Williams is the first person on this list going up that has an outside chance to make it to the CrossFit Games. She's from Argentina, and she's recently moved to Spain, where she's training with the Training Culture team. I've had a chance to talk to some of those guys about her, and they think that she has a bright future. Of course, the path to qualification is generally easy. There's less spots, but it's also generally a little bit lower level of competition in South America than Europe or North America. So she might be a young athlete from Argentina to keep an eye on.
And you called her camp the Training Culture camp?
The Training Culture in Spain, is where I would say at this point most of the top Spanish athletes are training, and she has moved over there to train with them recently, is my understanding.
Does she train with? Are there any games athletes in that cohort?
Team, is that's Mr. Week, Alex Anagasti, Pablo Cazares, and their team. Aniola Kai is over there now. Fabian Benito's over there now. I can't remember which ones have gone there.
And they're both competing.
Oyana Moya, I think, is there. I'm not sure about Elena Caratala.
Okay. And is there a CrossFit gym over there that they're training out of?
Yeah.
Do you know the name of it?
Not 100% sure.
Okay. All right. Feel free to interject anything as I'm going to roll through these names pretty quickly until I see someone that I recognize. The show is 100% biased. Number 30, Cece Cronin. By the way, Brian.
Cece Cronin's competed at the games on a team. She used to be called Cece Piper. Before getting married, she was with the Ohio Brutes.
Or have any of these women below also going team that you've seen who are gone individual so far?
I'll let you know when we get to those.
Okay, good. Thank you. Gracie,
but again, the individual competition's first, so that won't have too big of a bearing. Like it'll affect them more for the team competition than the individual.
Okay. I asked this question to Patrick and Travis. I don't feel like I got a straight answer. You were on the show. Do you think that these 4 days are tantamount to the CrossFit Games or harder maybe if you're doing both events?
Not harder. Seeing all the programming, if you're doing both, I do think that you're gonna be feeling it.
I mean, volume wise, I would say comparable. They're almost the same events though, aren't they not?
No, they've actually kind of been intentional about trying to avoid redundancy as much as possible in the individual and team programming. There's some things that are hard to avoid. But when you see the full picture, you'll see they did a pretty good job with that.
Is John Young going to talk today? Get in there, but no, he's not. He's just stop cheering John on.
Oh, don't worry. Once we get to about 20 and down, John's going to have a lot of things to say.
Gracie Strachan, Elizabeth Wishart, Valentina Magalotti, Italian.
Yeah, she competed in Dubai also.
How'd she do?
Not great.
So these people are. Why do you think these people are coming over here to do this event? To get competition experience? They have good sponsors. It's not cheap.
No. For she was 17th, by the way. No, it's really. I mean, look, to be able to qualify for and compete in the elite division at Wodapalooza is an incredible accomplishment. Every single one of these men and women is a beast and a savage and would destroy you at your gym. But you're talking about one of the best competitions in the world. And I mean, there's some absolute savages that don't make it that are competing in the RX division. We've talked about that in the past. 2 years ago, Guy Mayeros and Sidney McAlishan were the winners at Wodapalooza of the second division. RX, not elite.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how.
And Hopper and Mertens were also in that division, the RX division, that year.
That was just 2 years ago. That was 2020.
Yeah.
Hopper, Mertens, Guy, and Sydney.
I think I have it that year. I'll just the top 5 in the men's division that year.
In the RX.
Guy Mayeros, Riley Good. Riley made it in the elite division the next year. Adam DeYoung, Andrew Hiller. Do you know him?
Andrew.
And Nick Anapolsky. And then Nick Anapolsky was like 20th worldwide in the Open this year.
Wait, what place did Andrew get in the RX division in 2020?
4th.
Holy shit, Andrew.
Damian Martinez was in that competition. He got 13th. And Nick Matthew was in that competition. He got 14th. Benoit Boulanger, who competed elite last year in Wodapalooza, got 16th. I mean, it's really difficult. And if you look at last year, Enrico Zanoni took 2nd. He ended up making it to the games.
He went from the RX division to the games?
Yeah, so did Guy.
But in the same year.
Right. Yeah, in the same year. They both did that.
Crazy. Hey, does that mean they didn't belong in the RX division or no? I mean, that guy
means it's really hard to make it into the elite division. So
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. Even though these people are low down on this list and we're not going to talk about them, it's in too much detail. It's an incredible accomplishment to make it. And for someone like Magalotti, who qualified for both Dubai and Wodapalooza, even though you might say to most people, I don't know if it's the best decision to compete in both. It's like you might not get the chance to compete in one or the other again. So maybe you should take it.
Matt Poulin, intermediate in 2019. Is that the level below RX?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he got 6th or 7th in the semifinal this last year.
Crazy. Okay. Let's keep going. I think we were at Nicole Burke, 26th. Ella Wunger.
She's competing both individual and team.
Okay. Should she be?
It's okay. I like their team. It's a very fun team.
Chloe Carano.
She's like a fringe last chance qualifier. Tsunami
alert. So it says National Weather Service flash flood warning in effect for this area until 3:45 p.m. This is a dangerous and life-threatening situation. Eat a dick. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject to flooding or under an evacuation. This is California. We have the best infrastructure in the world. Gavin Newsom will not let anyone drown. Hey, did you know there was a show I did where there was an earthquake and the whole studio was shaking? Were you on that show, Brian?
Maybe.
That show is crazy. Well, that's just annoying on the podcast as it would be on my phone. Yeah. We can't have flash. Oh, we could have mudslides. Yeah, that's true. But not at we're definitely going to the skate park today. 100%. Okay. Mirakim Courvier.
Mirakim Couvret, I think. She's a Canadian, pretty good barbell cycling gymnastics athlete.
And then here we go. Brittany Weiss.
Mm-hmm.
She was on the podium last year at the CrossFit Games, 3rd place.
For the team division with CrossFit Invictus.
Yep.
And Mr. Fernandez.
And Jorge's pretty worked up that they're going to take first place this year.
Well, I don't know. Like we've mentioned, there's a lot of things developing in the team landscape. They will, if they run that team back, will be a contender to possibly win, but it will not be an easy road.
And so this is a good look at her to see where she's at. And I'm guessing eventually, like Jorge, like Devin Kim, she has individual aspirations.
Maybe. I don't think she would have as good of a chance as those two if she went the individual route, but she definitely could make a semifinal.
She's the weak link on the team.
They all have kind of different skill sets, which is nice, and none of them are really that bad. They're all good enough to make the semifinals.
Bailey Walker judges athletes the same way I do. I hope so. She's cute. Yep, me too. Sydney Wells. So when did Sydney Wells pop on the scene? This is Brooke Wells' twin sister.
Basically, the first year of semifinals.
Which was what?
West Coast Classic 2021.
Oh, so she very new.
Yeah.
She might have done like an off-season competition like a Wadapalooza or something before that, but that was the first time that most of us got a chance to see her.
Is she progressing? Is this an important showing for her?
John?
I mean, she is. Every competition she's been to, she did better in the semifinal last year than she did the year previous. And I honestly think she'll continue to get better because we saw what her twin is. Like, whatever her capability is what Brooke Wells is. And Brooke Wells would win this competition if she was in it. I'm not saying Sydney's going to win this competition, but that's her peak output. It can be what Brooke Wells is, and she just hasn't reached her potential yet. But I think she, will if she keeps after it. I see no reason why she can't be as good as Brooke, if not close, just because they're genetically identical. It's just like Saxon and Spencer aren't far off from each other. One's better, but they're still close.
She's a better athlete than Brooke. What's that mean? Like in college?
He only says that because she didn't drop out of track and Brooke did. Brooke dropped out of track and did CrossFit or in college, and Sydney stayed in college all 4 years.
And tore shit up.
400 meters.
How was she as a 400-meter sprinter? She did good?
I'm not sure. I think she was at Arkansas. Do you know, Brian, off the top of your head?
Not really. But yeah, I mean, look, Sevan, this is obviously, we've talked about brothers in the sport having success over time, but they have different levels of success. Alex Anderson did better than his brothers at the games. And will Sydney ever match Brooke's success? I don't think so, just because she's getting into it later. So she's going to be naturally older. She needs to get top end strength and upper body pulling. Those two things need to come along quite a bit. She has incredible grit, work ethic, tenacity, aerobic capacity is pretty good. Some of her gymnastics is good. Her barbell cycling is good. But then there's also just this, like, can you put it together when it counts the most? And that's what we've not seen her do for a complete competition yet. So we get another chance to see her here, which is exciting.
Has anyone ever talked to her? Has she done an interview? Like, does she have I mean, I've reached out to her a bunch. Does she have, and I'd love to have her on the show, does she have, podium aspirations as a CrossFit Games athlete? I'm going to have to just assume yes.
I mean,
no one knows. No one's talked to her. Have you guys ever seen her? Have you ever seen her interviewed? Have you guys ever seen a podcast with her on it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Patrick Clark says, did you interview her, Patrick? Is that what Patrick is saying?
She was on Clydesdale.
She was. Oh, okay. I got to watch that.
It's everyone.
Yeah, they do. Episode 160. When was that? Scroll down a little bit. I want to see what year that was.
A year ago.
A year ago. Okay. Put that on the list of things to watch. So Scott Schweitzer, I had her on. I did not have her on. I have not had a Wells on. Interviewed her many times during the behind the scenes. Brooke, you should come on too. You would have fun. I promise you. Okay. Sydney Wells. John, is that too low for her? Is she getting better faster than Brian's acknowledging, and she should really be higher?
I think I have her higher. Caleb, do you have my rankings at all? I'm not sure where I think I put her like 15th or something.
Oh, this is going to be a problem going back and forth.
Yeah, I have her 15th.
Okay.
So, yes, in my opinion, Brian has her low.
Okay, so you have her 6 places higher. Oh, and you have Fuselier at 19.
Scroll down so I can see like 20 through 25 on this list. Okay, so we have Brittany Weiss in a very similar position. Basically, we have Hannah Carlson and Sydney Wells flipped.
How about Julia Cato? She was at the games last year, right?
Yeah, and I have her 18th. He's got her 22nd. She's just coming off winning a competition in Saudi Arabia like yesterday. So that's gonna be a big trip. I probably would have put her a little lower if I had remembered that she was doing that competition, and she won a decent amount of money there. So congratulations to her.
Maybe Brian knows there's a lot of heavy stuff. That's why Brittany and Sydney are lower. Heavy stuff? What does that mean?
Like heavy weightlifting.
Oh, okay. I thought they meant like drama in their life, like someone died or.
It's an interesting women's field because obviously it doesn't have the top 10 big star-studded names, but there's still 20 women in this field that are games caliber athletes. Like it's still competitive.
Okay, let's keep going. Women. What did you think about the spelling, the typo, woman versus women? Are you okay with it, Brian?
One of my favorite songs, Woman, Woman, Woman. That's why I wanted to do it.
Okay. Oh, is that Santana?
The guy who does the graphics for me, I know that he takes some heat sometimes when he makes those mistakes, but especially when you see the team's predictions I'm going to put out later today. I mean, that's a lot of data entry for him. Yeah, it's a big error, I guess, but
I don't think so. I think this day and age, if you got the sexes right, you're good.
Yeah. So anyway, he messaged me and sent a little joke. He goes, "I'll update it for the teams."
Amy Kringle from the Isle of Man. Is she getting better?
I mean, I think so. She's relatively young. She's training hard. I think she's moved to a probably a better training environment to help, challenge her more in her training day to day.
Where did she go?
Somewhere in the UK. I think she might be. I don't want to get it wrong, but I feel like she might be training with the team from AOD. But anyway, she's gone into an area where there's more competitive CrossFit going on, and so putting herself in that environment obviously shows that she's attempting to make that next move forward. We got to see her in Dubai, and we've talked about it with Magalati. Like, we'll get to see her again here. It'll be a different style of testing, a different field that she's going against. She didn't do great there, 16th out of 20. I think she'll do a little better here in a bigger field. But I'd expect to have some highs and some lows still.
Number 19, Rebecca Fuselier. Do you see her as never going to the games again? I think I've asked you this before.
I know. And I was really curious to see where John would have her because did get a couple comments and a couple DMs where people were pissed off about how low I had her, I guess.
Oh, wow. Guess you want to guess where I have her?
Don't you have her 19?
I have her 19th exactly.
Yeah, so we have a similar kind of read on her here. And actually we have a lot of athletes in this similar area, just kind of, mixed around a few spots, but yeah,
the problem is she made it because of 10 legless rope climbs.
I think it was a little fluky that she made it this year, but that happens. I thought it was fluky that Colton made it 2 years ago and he made it back the next year. So I'm certainly open to being proven wrong. And if you make it 2-3 years in a row, then
Brian, tell me sorry, not Brian. John, tell me the story. What's the 10 rope climb?
Like, that's 10 legless rope climbs is such a biased event. Like, for that to be one of the semifinal events, like, had that been anything, it could be legless rope climbs and any other fitness thing, and she probably doesn't make it. But since that's such high upper body endurance where body weight plays such a big deal, that's why she made it through. It was because of that event alone. So, like, on just fitness, I get it. All of it's part of CrossFit, but that's like having 2 max out events for women. Like, it's it's even more for women than it is for men, even though Colton almost lost because of that event single-handedly.
There was a woman in that
fell out.
And there was a woman in that field at the MAC. Shelby Neal. Most of the attention was on Brooke Wells, Rebecca Fuselier and Kelly Clark because there was 2 points separating 3 spots for 4th, 5th, and 6th. But Shelby Neal, who took 7th, her event finishes were 5th, 3rd, 5th, 4th, and 5th.
Wow.
And
She took
30th,
I think she probably would have
30th
played,
last on the
Yeah.
legless rope climb event.
and she probably would have had a better, done better at the games. Because she's fitter. She just can't legless rope climb as good as Rebecca. I mean, and all props to the world for Rebecca for making it through. She did what she could do, and it was awesome. But I don't think we're going to get that biased of event again because of what it does.
Well, I mean, we had it 8 years previous and got it came back again.
That's fair. That's fair.
But if you look at Rebecca's performance, her worst event was on the lifting event. And then if you don't have the requisite strength, you get punished multiple times at the games. Where if you can't do a specific silica legless rope climb, you might get punished once, or it might get rained out and you won't get punished for it at all.
Right. Instead of one modality, it's one movement.
What did Rebecca finish at the games?
30th, I think. I think she barely made the cut and then stayed in 30th.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
not what Colton does, too.
Right. And it was, I mean, look, like Mikulishin, Moosbrugger, Sigurdardottir, Campos, Kate, she finished ahead of all these. So it wasn't she made the final cut, got to do all the events, but you start looking at her at the end of her weekend, she was 36th, 38th, 39th. And then with 30 people left in the field, she was 30th, and 29th.
She got very lucky with the order of the events before the cut because her best events were in the front.
And
Gymnastics-based events.
And that's the problem with having cuts. We did this example with Laura Horvath and Gabby and Mal O'Brien. If you flip the order of events, Laura would have been in first place for like 6 events in a row at the start of the competition, never been worse than 4th the entire time. Because of the order that they were in, Mal was in 3rd for 3 events, and she was never worse than 2nd, I think, the entire competition. But if you flipped it around, then she would have been like 9th at some point and had to work her way back up. Laura was 16th at one point and had to work her way back up. And then the cut line, what you get is someone like that who's basically last on 6 straight events to end the weekend, but because everything that she did well and was front loaded, she makes it instead of some of the stronger athletes in the bottom quarter of the field.
That's not to say the cuts were unfair. I thought the cuts were incredibly fair for the games. I'm saying that, but she did get lucky that a lot of the gymnastics events were in the front and not the back, as far as her case alone.
In my eyes, Boz can do no wrong. Bring back the alpaca. That sounds manipulative. Okay, 18th, Julia Cato.
If he doesn't bring it back, then he did wrong.
Right. 17th, Victoria Campos. 16th, Hannah Carlson. Oh, where did we see Hannah Carlson put on a show for us?
So this is, I have her 16th. John had her 21st or 2nd, and this is basically just the flip flop that I had with his Sydney Wells pick. Hannah was 8th at Dubai. She had a couple really good events there, including an event win. She's bigger athlete. She's on the team with Ella Vungar, actually, so she'll be doing both. She's kind of a sneaky athlete. I think I like my pick here for her better than John, but we'll have to see. I think she's not that young. She's 29, but just learning a little bit more about her as an athlete in Dubai. I was pretty impressed with some of the skills that she had. She did get, I think, a little fortunate in some regards. Like the workout she won was Echo Bike legless rope climb, and there weren't really enough legless rope climbs to offset her Echo Bike performance. Then in the final, we saw her struggle with the ring muscle up. So I think high volume upper body pulling, and as is the case with a lot of the bigger women, I think she's 5'10". So, are often challenging, but no, she's definitely got it. Like the row D-ball workout. I think she can do really, really well on that, for example. So we'll see a couple highlights from Hannah probably.
I just realized we don't have when will all the workouts be announced?
Well, hopefully before the competition starts.
Hey, can we do a programming show on Wednesday?
A lot of people are asking for it. I think that would be a good idea. And then you probably have to do one. I mean, it's going to be tough for the teams, though. You could at least do the individuals on Wednesday, I think.
Okay, because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are going to be packed.
I know, but if you want to do one for the team competitions, those events probably won't all be announced before individuals start. So you'd have to do it like Saturday morning or Friday night, which would be also like butt up against a recap show of the individuals.
Okay, JR and Mr. Taylor Self, if you guys are listening, let's figure out what we're doing Wednesday. to talk about the programming. Can't believe I missed that. Okay. Victoria Campos. I know that name too. Who is that? Who's that? Why do I know that name? Has she been to the games?
Yeah, she went this past year. She's a winner of Copa
South America.
Okay. Number 15.
John, where'd you put Kerstetter?
I think 11th.
Really?
Yeah, 11th. I put her one spot lower than I did at Rogue.
So when I see Brian knows the workouts, and when I see Olivia Kerstetter placed at 15th, I think that a lot of people can start guessing maybe what the
There's some
workout,
handstand push-up hard workout.
what the workouts are, and some rope climbs, right? Didn't she struggle with the rope climb also at Rogue?
It depends if it's our legless or not.
The look, the workouts that have been announced, we've got the rings and squats. We got ring muscle ups and back squats, front squats, overhead squats. I think she'll crush the squats, but struggle on the rings. She was last place, I think, or second to last to someone who was sick during the goblet workout at Rogue. Yep, that's true, Mike. Thank you. A really sprinty workout, toes to bar, hurdle, jump, shuttle run. I don't see her doing too well on that. The row, D-ball clean, bear hug carry. Yes, she should do well on that. The clean and jerk, she should do well. The handstand is a bit of an unknown. The swimming, wall ball, double under, I think she'll be middle of the pack. So, I think she should be slightly better than average overall in the competition, 15th.
Olivia Kerstetter won Wadapalooza teen. That's how she qualified. Thank you, Mike. Good information. Eric, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why hasn't CrossFit grown in 10 years? Eric, I've already done 699 shows on that. Maybe you should go back into the library, you ding dong. Heidi Rosa, is that you? Okay. Olivia Kerstetter, regardless of how she does here, if you're a fan of the sport, that's the girl to watch. You want to get on the train early. This is going to be someone who is going to give a lot of enjoyment for us fans of the sport. She's going to be around for a long time. She is going to win events. She's going to win events at the games. She's going to cause problems for a lot of people. She is a 1 in a million athlete. True, John Young?
Yeah, I mean, she when they did the max snatch, was it at the games when she snatched 202? She would have beaten everybody except Cara in the snatch when she was in the teen division. She got 202, and the winning whip for the women was 203. What am I thinking of a different year?
No, it was that year, and I think
just say an Australian. She would just say the Australian girl, John. If you're not sure if it's Tia or Cara, that covers both your bases.
Either way, she's snatching over 200 pounds. It's at like 15 years old.
Yeah, in the teen division would have got second place in the individual in a max snatch at 15, not like 17, at 15. And you know who was similar to that? Guy Malheiros. He snatched 291, I believe, the same year. And everybody at like 16 years old. And everybody was like, who the freak is that? And now, if there's a strength event, it's basically a given. Guy is going to win. Olivia is going to be the same way for the women,
and she backed that up with the second place in the clean and jerk event at Rogue.
Heavy Grace,
only behind Danny Spiegel.
No, she beat Danny Spiegel.
Cara Saunders. Wow. Okay.
She lost to her twice. Gosh, come on, Olivia.
Patrick Clark, stop comparing what Olivia's done as a teen to what Mal Emma have done. She's a different athlete than them. She's more comparable to Gabby, who took some time to develop. I mean, I think Gabby, when you say Gabby's still got a lot of developing to do if she's going to be a force in the sport. I think she's going to be a podium athlete.
The reason that we talk about her in the same breath as those athletes is because those athletes have now shown us that you can make the transition quickly, or even before the teenage years are up. Before that, the closest thing we had was Haley Adams, who did not. She made regionals when she was 16 and 17 years old, but she wasn't able to qualify. She was able to her first year eligible. Gabby took a couple years, like Patrick's referring to. And so we're saying that now we've seen that possible. Will Olivia Kerstetter continue that trend, or is he right that it'll take her a couple years as she develops into a more well-rounded athlete?
Eric, you are a ding dong, Sevan. Danny Spiegel is right about you. Well, fuck that hurt. I loved your. I'm gonna guess you're on your fifth booster. 14th, Alyssa Fuliano. I know the name.
She made the games this past year. Again, she didn't do great. She was one of the 3 European women that finished lower than 22nd, and they were all, I think, 35th or lower. So she's definitely got something to prove. I think this competition in general will suit her far better than the CrossFit Games.
Are we going to see who's the best person south of San Diego, female, who's at the CrossFit Games of all time?
Of all time?
Even give me the last 5 years. Does South America have a promising woman?
Women?
Was it Campos?
No, I mean, there was not a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
There haven't been.
Is she
Brenda
the best one?
Castro, Laurie Kuna maybe could have been. It's tough.
It's pretty barren.
All righty.
Sorry to
No, it's okay. It's fun. It's going to be fun to develop. I think that's also something that people can get behind. Also, I think when that happens,
that's some of the things that Wadapalooza is doing with having those competitions from Mexico, from Argentina be direct qualifiers, so that they do have a chance to send an athlete here to get some competition experience against some of the best in the world.
I think you get a little bit of that Roman Krennikov effect when we do get a female from South America who breaks that top 5. Okay. Could Krennikov be the people's champ? No Russians, right? We're too close-minded.
He could be. He gained a lot of fans this summer.
He got second. I thought I was too good to be the people's champ.
Yeah, but he brought his baby with the headphones up there. It actually kind of looks like you two right now, John.
Wow, Krennikov's baby does look like John. That's crazy.
I'm baby Krennikov. I'll take it.
Paige
I'm gonna make you that
Semenza.
shirt.
Paige Semenza,
Roman should be
13.
stronger then.
How old's Paige?
Close to 30.
Great athlete.
Yeah, very impressive athlete.
In the mix at
She
the
is
games.
30.
What's the highest she finished at the games?
Ooh,
She was 21st last year.
I think she was really close to that in 2017.
I do, Kenneth. I do like this. Ricky's the people's champ, but I think he falls into a niche. I think he falls into a niche.
21st. Last year was her best showing.
Yeah, she's
21st. Okay,
she was around 30th previously.
Okay, so she's kind of in a do or die. Yep, there he is. Roman Krennikov holding John Young. Someone get on the Photoshop. John, can you look that way for 1 second? Look that way for 1 second. No, other way. Okay, grab the screenshot, people. That's it. Grab that screenshot and paste that in. There you go. Get on it, please. And then text that over to one of us, and we'll show it before the show's over. Thank you. Okay. Paige Semenza, great athlete, kind of do or die, 30 years old. Freya Moosbrugger.
That's
was
Sevan's
last year-
favorite athlete.
It is one of my favorites. Was yet last year her first year at the games?
Yes.
Yes.
And an impressive showing.
Outside the top 30. Not great. Competed in Dubai, which now we're seeing a few of these athletes. She did a lot better there. She was 9th compared to some of the others we talked about, like Kringle and Magalati. I think that Freya is on a good upward trajectory. I don't know how well she'll compete after competing a month ago, but I'm assuming that she can. That's misspelled. I feel bad about that. Anyway.
What's misspelled? Her last name?
Yeah, but it's okay.
I feel horrible too.
Is she still training with Pat?
I don't think consistently, but maybe occasionally.
So basically for her, what we want to see in Freya is that we want to see how she performs here to see if it's a fluke she went to the games.
What will be interesting is the conference finals. I guess that's what we'll call it, because she arguably got in just because she was in the weakest semifinal.
Atlas games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the athletes that finished 3rd, 4th, and 5th at Atlas Games this year, we'll see how they do relative to some of the ones that were finishing 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Syndicate and the MAC or at Granite Games.
400 watchers. Who's the needle mover? Younger friend. Look it. Brian Friend is all 400, and John Young is just an accessory, like a fine Gucci bag or something. Young is just an accessory. He lost us 3 watchers for people who are triggered by Gucci bags. It's just privilege for us to have Young on. It's just you're an accessory. You okay with that, John?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, fine. He's like a fine glass of wine. That's it. Just sitting at the table. Just smell Young. Okay. Scroll down.
Yeah, we're an hour into the show. We haven't even got to the top 10 women.
Okay, shit, we're screwed. Elena from Spain.
Yeah. Where'd you have Elena Cartala, John?
I think we have her in the same spot. Where do you have her?
11.
I have her 13th.
Okay, so just knocking on the door of the top 10. She did have a pretty good semifinal. Again, I think this is a good example of an athlete that will do better in this style of competition than at the games. I do think she'll be exposed on a couple things. I'm curious to see how she does in the swimming event. And but she can. I don't think she's going to have any top 3 finishes, but I think she can have some. If she's not, well, it depends on the heat sizes. I think she can have some like 5th to 8th place finishes in some of her better events, and those will be offset by a few in the 20s, maybe 1 or 2 in the 20s, and most of her finishes will be 11 through 17.
Alrighty, number 10. John, here as we go through every single one in the top 10, will you also tell us who you have in those spots so that Caleb doesn't have to go back and forth?
Sure.
Caitlin Van Zyl.
Okay. Do you just want me to say where I have her?
Or just tell us who you have in 10th.
I have Oihana Moya Oliver.
Okay, and we saw Oihana. She was at Rogue, right?
No, she was also in Dubai. I think she took 4th there.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Fifth.
And has Caitlin been to the games?
Caitlin Van Zyl has been to the games as a team athlete.
The
last 2 years, and competed with her husband and then another couple, a team from New Zealand. She's being coached by Justin Kotler now. And
is she out of Vegas?
No, she lives in. They live in New Zealand.
And she's on a team with Carrie Pierce and Ariel Lowen, correct?
I don't think that's a team. I think she's with Sarah Sigma's daughter's team.
Sarah and Emily?
Yeah, I think so.
So, okay.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
She's on one of the teams that has a chance to podium for the team competition.
She's really good on the machine. She's bigger than most of the women competing. She should be really good on anything with machine, really good on anything running, pretty good in the water. I think she would have placed like 6th or 7th on the swimming and skiing workout amongst the elite individual women at the games. Decent gymnastics and barbell cycling for someone who's a little bit. How tall is she? 5'7", so not as big as a Hannah Carlson, but on the bigger side.
Cindy McAlishan, number 9. Who do you got in the 9th spot, John?
9th spot, I have Sydney McAlishan.
Wow, it's crazy when you guys get them the same like that. I feel like every time we watch her, she's one of those athletes that we know is so good, and we're just hoping to see improvements. Correct?
Definitely, especially now that she's had a little bit of more time under her belt up at Comp Train. They obviously have taken some heat in the last year for a variety of different reasons, but that's an athlete that they've invested in, and she's made a decision to move down there to try to improve. And I think that maybe, Wodapalooza, just keep in mind that Wodapalooza is not a CrossFit semifinals. It's not the games. It's not Rogue. There's a different flavor of competition here. The events have a little different style. And so you often get people that do really well or really poorly at this competition that then have an inverse level of success at a semifinal or at the games even. So
it's less pressure for sure. The environment is just very, very different.
So, for McAlishan, yeah, there's some things that I'll be looking at specifically this weekend to see how she's coming along. If they're asked to go long, I want to see how she does. She's had a couple good long events, a couple bad long events. I want to see where her lifting number is at with the clean and jerk. I want to see some of her gymnastics capacity on the ring muscle ups. So yeah, we'll get a chance to check in with her, see where her training's at. But again, I think that, and she's kind of young. I think that depending on what shows up at semifinals, she could do like substantially better at a semifinal than she does at Wodapalooza this weekend.
Does she win an event this week?
I don't think so.
John?
No.
Number 8. Paige Powers was just on the show, coming from an incredible training pedigree. And I don't get it from all the interviews. This girl wants to win. This girl wants to be the best in the world.
John, where'd you have her?
I have Caitlin Van Zyl in that one. I have Paige Powers 7th.
Okay. Brian, why not a win for Paige Powers? We're looking at a games athlete here.
To win the competition?
Yeah.
I will say I was very impressed with her attitude, her mentality on the show. I think she's just, and it doesn't even necessarily have to do with age. Obviously, I've picked someone younger than her to win this competition, but I think that when I look, this is what Patrick's talking about: different body types, different types of adaptation, and the time that it takes. And there's some things that are just intangible. Like on paper, I could see the argument for Paige Powers to be a podium finisher in this competition, and maybe it'll happen. But when I looked at all the events and I looked at the things that she's good at, and I looked at the other athletes, I just thought that over the course of these workouts, this is where she'll end up. She is someone that could have some, one or two top 3 finishes though.
And her team, she's going to be surrounded by her team. I mean, the people she trains with are going to be there.
Yeah, mayhem, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's going to be a good environment for her.
What are your thoughts about her, John? Amazing semifinal last year. Struggled at the games, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I don't know. She kind of is just stuck for me. Like, she's like good enough to be top 10 in Wannapalooza, but like until she like beats big name people, I don't think I can put her past big name people. She's kind of like, she's like in that tier that's behind everybody that matters. I know that sounds bad, but everybody who's in contention for a podium, like it's those people, and then she's in the tier right below it. And until she beats those people in a big competition like this, it's hard for me to put her past them. Does that make sense?
Dustin?
She was most improved last year. What are you talking about, John? Sean M.
I mean, that's great, but go ahead, Ryan.
I mean, most improved in what regard? Again, we know that she competed at the Atlas Games and she had an incredible performance there, almost matching Emma Lawson, a finish for finish. But there was a big drop off in terms of talent after those two, and we saw that exposed at the CrossFit Games. So when if she was in a different semifinal field, I can guarantee you she wasn't taking second place. Probably would have been 4th through 7th at those other semifinals, and may or may not have made the games in some cases. She went to the games and had a finish that was more indicative of that. I do think that she's probably had a very productive offseason. She did take that trip to Italy, but I don't think that was too big of an interruption. I'm excited that we get to see her here. I think that this is an important competition for her, regardless of how she does, just to get some competition experience, to get another checkpoint, and then to go back. Because for her, the Open and the quarterfinals will happen, and she'll just train right through those. She's going to have to be ready for semifinals, especially if she's in the East. And she's going to have had improved from last year's semifinals, no matter how good it looks like she did, if she wants to make it back to the games.
Yeah, I don't put any stock into the Atlas Games semifinal at all. I know that sounds harsh, but the people that competed
but
there,
fair,
like,
harsh but fair.
Yeah, but like we'll see how she does in the Eastern Conference Finals, because she will be against very, very good people the whole time. And if she makes it to the games in that semifinal, then she can.
Sevan, did you get that?
Yeah. Caleb, anytime you want, go ahead. I just want to thank Barbell Spin has always been an amazing contributor to the show and a dear friend of the show, and now I will put him up on a higher ranking. There is you were wondering who the needle mover is.
How did you do that so fast?
That's
incredible.
Good. Oh my God!
There's
John,
a Roman Krennikov
me popping off anytime you call me on my phone.
Maybe some of his aerobic ability will rub off on me now, because
I can tell you that Roman Krennikov's kid will be the strongest child the planet has ever seen. Wow, yeah, my goodness.
They just keep rolling in, man.
Oh my goodness.
If it means anything,
you know why he's smiling? Look where Roman's hand is.
That one's from Travis from Vindicate.
Oh man.
My goodness.
Well, he can't lift as much as me, so
there you go.
I'll let him be my father with that.
Yeah, good.
So good.
Okay. No one is exempt from a little bit of trolling. So Paige Powers, one to watch. What? Let me ask you this about her. Can she go? Do you see someday her being a top 5 games athlete?
It's really, really hard. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility for her, but if you ask me right now, yes or no, I would say no.
How old is she? She's 19.
19 or 20, yeah.
Like, the problem is there's so many super good young people. Like, do you see her being better than Emma Carey? Do you see her being better than Haley, than Mal? Like, Laura's going to be there forever. Gabby's going to be there for a long time. Like, there's so many really good younger people in the women's division. It's just hard. Like, when you say those names, she has to jump those people to get into the top 5. That's
when you look at the NBA, clearly in the WNBA, clearly the NBA is better. And when you look at OnlyFans, clearly the women's division is better. When you look at CrossFit, is it also like that? Is the women's division just a better place? Like, for competition, for sport, for people like us to talk about? Is the women's division more, does it have an edge on the men? Thoughts?
I think CrossFit is
a brighter future.
A rare place where they're pretty equal.
Okay.
Like, when one person is dominating, the other side's always more fun to talk about. Like, when Matt Fraser was dominating and Tia and Cara were going back and forth, it's much more fun to talk about the women. Or when Sarah was really good, like, we didn't know who was going to win. It would be Sarah, it could be Katrin, could be Annie, could be Tia, could be Cara. That's much more fun to talk about. And we just know Matt's going to win. And then the men's division has been like that while Tia's been kind of reigning. I know Justin's won the last 2, but everybody's close enough. It's fun to debate. So I think they're pretty equal and exciting to talk about. Just depends who's on top at the time.
Fair. Number 7.
I had page 7.
So we had the same women 7 through 10, just in a different order.
Okay, number 6.
The one thing about Oyana I'll say is I wrote an article about some athletes that flew under the radar last year at Wadapalooza, and she was one that I picked. She had a wrist injury, I think, during maybe the swimming event or something, and then she had to withdraw after the Celebrate 10 event, which had a lot of handstand push-ups and ring muscle-ups and overhead squats that really messed her wrist up. She was still recovering from that during semifinals, and she managed to make the last chance qualifier anyway. Now she's healthy. She took 5th place in Dubai. I think she would have taken top 10 at Wadapalooza last year if she had been able to finish the competition healthy, and so I'm picking her to be inside the top 10 this year. I also think she's a danger to take a game spot out of Europe next season.
Wow, okay.
She's part of that training culture team in Spain.
That's a huge statement. Okay, number 6. Alan Kesterbaum, Hiller can't win the gauntlet. He can do really well in it, but can't win. Can't win. Okay, number 6, Emily Rolfe. Had to pull out of the games this year with an injury. How many times has she been to the games, CrossFit Games?
I think
4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. So for me, I drew a line basically. So Rolf and above is what I'm considering the top class or top tier of women in this field.
There's definitely a separation after 7.
I can't believe you put Oyana above Cindy Mikulishin.
Well, you know how I feel about the strength of the European women relative to North American women. I think that they're on par or above, even though they're still getting half. Well, we'll see, but they're guaranteed half the number of spots. I hope that the European women just absolutely obliterate whatever the qualifiers are that they're assessing to make the world ranking system, and that they get 15 spots to the U.S., 15 spots this year, because I'll take the top 15 women in Europe over North America.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. Consistent. Okay. Emily Rolfe. Let's go to number 5.
Where'd you have Rolf?
I have Rolf 5th, Emma Tall 6th.
Okay.
Andrea Nisler. I don't know if this is true or not, but
this is where we disagree a lot.
This is the most seasoned of all the female competitors out there. Best pedigree, most competition experience.
I would put her on par with Sarah Sigmundsdottir.
Okay, fair. But a better pedigree than Sarah Sigmundsdottir.
I don't think so. I think taking two third places at the CrossFit Games is way more impressive than 2 team championships.
It's the most Andrea's ever done on an individual competition.
But here it is. It's who Andrea Nisler trains with, is what I was thinking.
Sarah Sigmundsdottir is trained with just about everyone in the sport.
Yeah, but she can't stay still.
Nisler moved from Minnesota to Tennessee last year. She moved back to Minnesota this year.
I mean, wasn't she on the team that beat Rich's team?
In Rogue that one year, not at the games.
No, that was Wasatch that beat him. Was that Hackenberg's
2017? No, Adrian Conway.
I think we interviewed Nisler at some point. Maybe it was at Zealous Games, and she said she would not be doing any more individual events ever. And here she is.
And here she is.
Yeah.
And both her and Pat Vellner put a little comment on my Instagram that said, "Oh, great, no pressure." So, no pressure, Andrea. Let's see what you got.
I think she is going to be either first or second. Where do you have her, John?
I have her second.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4.
I'll just say about Andrea, because a lot of people did message me about her. There are a lot of people saying they believe she's one of the top 10 fittest women in the world.
I agree.
I disagree with that.
I disagree with that, but in this field,
I don't think she'd have any chance to finish in the top 10 at the games field over an entire games testing. I do think she would finish in the top 20, but I also think all of these 6 women would finish in the top 20, the top 6, or have the chance to.
Okay, how can you say anything about Sarah? Seriously, how can you say anything about it? Isn't it just like, holy shit, how do we know anything?
Yep.
Isn't her last competition Wadapalooza last year?
No, she competed at semifinals.
How'd she do there?
Hold on.
Not
She basically,
good enough to make
so
the
she made
game.
the same mistake at Wadapalooza last year that she made at semifinals.
She got injured?
She pushed it too hard on the lifting event. So that she basically hurt herself on the lifting event at Wadapalooza last year. And then and then, just kind of set back everything that she had been doing up to that point, which I think was moving in the right direction. Excuse me. Last year at Wadapalooza, she was 5th and 7th on the first 2 workouts before overdoing it on that lifting workout. So she was off to a decent start. She had, Dubai last year was her first, or I guess it's 2 years ago now, was her first competition back, and she did okay. She was 7th. She finished in between Nisler and Rolf, so she's right in the conversation with girls like that. And the women that beat her were Laura Horvath, Kristen Holt, Gabby McGowan, Sam Briggs, and Jacqueline Dahlstrom. So very impressive, athletes. It's not like it was a bad finish in 7th place. I didn't think she needed to do Wadapalooza last year. She decided to do it, and it obviously was a problem. You could fast forward to semifinals, and then the barbell complex. She made a big jump between lifts 1 and 2, and it was probably the least fun I had watching anyone do anything during semifinals live last year, watching her struggle through that. Clean, front squat. Every one of them looked heavy and difficult and putting a lot of strain on her body. And she missed the jerk. Then she tried it again. And at that point, she did come back and win an event at semifinals after that. And it was an impressive individual event performance, but I think she should have sacrificed weight on the lift and preserved herself for the rest of the events. And I think she actually would have made the games last year if she'd done that, despite the setback at Wadapalooza. Everything that I've heard in the build up to this competition is that she's having fun. She's looking great. She's feeling fit and she's healthy. So I actually think she has a chance to win this thing. This is, in my opinion, a lot of people thought this was a ludicrous pick to pick her this high. I felt like it was somewhat of a conservative pick. I am hopeful that she's smart with the lifting event. I'm hopeful that she's confident enough on the rest of the stuff. Like those lateral hurdle jumps makes me a little nervous. Shuttle run, not great when you're coming back from a knee. But I think she has the confidence to move through everything that she needs to do. And even though I put her 4th, I will not be surprised at all if she's on the podium.
And she's with Training Think Tank right now, right? Yeah.
So Max is not coaching her. Perrin is coaching her now. One of the female coaches at Training Think Tank. And from the people I know who have been there, that they seem to think that that's a really good fit. So everything I've heard is really positive about Sarah. And a couple of people who know her well, I'm always skeptical. Like, I get these messages from everyone that their buddy is going to do amazing and whatever. But the people who know Sarah well that I've heard from said she has a chance to win this thing.
I have her 3rd.
And I'll say this, she's doing the team competition. I think that's a bad decision. I think she should just do the individual, call it a day, enjoy the fans on the weekend, and then let's see her in semifinals.
It is pretty wild that she's doing both, right?
Are they allowed a substitute?
It depends on how you qualified.
I'm curious if she gets like 3rd or 2nd and does awesome, but is fried. Like if she could just be like, all right, guys, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on the policy there.
I don't see the DM you sent me with the picture of John Young, but I'm impressed that I even tried to find it. Okay. That's from G something.
Just to be clear, you're impressed with yourself?
I'm impressed. Yeah, that I tried to dig through there and do that. Fucking stressed me out. Yeah, money. Send money. Yes, money. Oh, she's doing it for the prize money? No, Sarah doesn't need
Not for
money.
the team. No, yeah. Good one.
Number 3, Danny Spiegel took 16th, 17th, 19th at the CrossFit Games.
17th. Very good.
17th.
Very good. You got it in your second try.
Um,
And 5th place at Wadapalooza last year. And 5th place at Wadapalooza in 2019. None of the women that beat her in either of those years, except for Sarah Sigmundsdottir, is competing.
and what will Danny be wearing, John?
What would she be wearing? Probably the Eat Me shirt.
Oh, good guess.
Yes.
The answer is as little as is acceptable.
As little as is acceptable.
And then
Yes.
slightly less than that.
And no, the Sam Dancer will be wearing a little slightly less than that. They'll look at Danny Spiegels and be, I'll one up you. I'll make it a little smaller. Number dose, Emma Tall, number 2.
Yeah, I think Emma Tall is an incredible athlete that has rarely lived up to her expectations. She qualified for this by winning the Madrid championship. I almost picked her to win it outright. I just think that amongst these 6 women, these workouts are really good for her. And I think that she's going to have pretty consistent top 5 finishes, and it's going to keep her in contention to win it throughout.
She's a very good swimmer, right?
Yeah.
And didn't she compete in swimming beforehand?
Yeah, it's so crazy how many actually good swimmers are on the women's field. But yeah, she's amongst the best.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. We had her on the show. She was the one 2 years ago that had the last chance qualifier hiccup.
Yeah, she got gypped.
Yeah, David Sharonke is her significant other.
He's a giant. I'm looking at a picture of him right now. He is huge.
Yeah, we've had him on too. Maybe at the same time they were on.
Brian, she was at the games this last year, Emma Tall?
No, so she withdrew prior to semifinals due to injury. So we missed her at semifinals. We missed her at the games. I think she was 19th, 18th, somewhere between 18th and 20th at the games the year before that. So towards the bottom of the women that made the final cut. And then she won Madrid, and we haven't seen her since. So didn't get to see her second iteration at the games this season around. I do think she's very much in contention in Europe for a game spot next season.
I like girls who eat me. It's not bad for a shirt.
What does the shirt actually say? I
Girls who
didn't mean for that to sound like that. That's what it is. Girls who eat.
Yeah.
So-
No, I think that was fair. That was, you played it safe. Brian, you were just trying to be honest, and Brian was trying to tickle my fancy. Look at the size of this fucking guy. This is her dude.
Yeah, that's David. Yeah.
And she's no small girl.
No, I just think she's 5'6", so little above average for CrossFit.
What is
field.
Shranky 6'2"?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's built like a brick shit house too.
Yeah, I mean, look, she's actually, I mean, she's pretty well rounded. Good with weights, good with gymnastics, good with barbell, good with machines, good in the water. Long run is probably the one thing she doesn't want to see.
Hey, I only know her from when she was in that pinch with CrossFit in the last chance qualifier. But another thing that's cool about it, she got a little chip on her shoulder, right?
Definitely, they both do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and which is cool. I like that. Like a little bit of like fuck you. Like I'm not winning just for me, but I'm winning to like lift my middle finger in the air. Little chip. Maybe Danielle Brandon got that too. Little chip on the shoulder. Maybe Fraser had maybe a little chip. 2 chips. Okay, number 1. Emma Carey. I can't tell you how happy I was to see that. Does she really have a chance of winning this?
John, who'd you pick to win?
Emma Carey.
You did?
Yeah.
Sevan. Look
Why
at
does
that.
it surprise you?
I mean, she got a little bit of the Sarah Sigmundsdottir thing going. Obviously not as significant, but isn't she a complete unknown? Aren't we like, this is her coming out party, right?
I'm gonna let John go first.
When's the last time we've seen Emma Carey compete?
The games 2021?
She wasn't
No,
at Rogue.
Dubai.
She was at Dubai this last year?
2 years ago.
Holy crap. And
She did. So she did compete in the open. She was going to try to compete in the open, but when the deadlifting burpee workout came out, she decided not to continue with the season because she was still dealing with a back injury that was lingering. She took that time and went through a very thorough process with Matt Torres of rehabbing that and getting laying another set of foundation basically, and then building strength on top of that. She is I mean, it's almost scary, like her level of maturity compared to her age, and it is across the board. I mean, Mal O'Brien's kind of like this too, but it's a little different talking to Emma. She's very nice, but she's like, it's almost like you're talking to a 35-year-old in terms of discipline and approach, but then she has like the innocence of a kid. Anyway, they've been working really hard. I've been, from everything that I've heard from Matt and from the others down there, I believe that Emma Carey is the top 10 fittest. She is the one in this field that I think is top 10 in the world. That's one of the reasons why I picked her to win.
Even if you take just what she would be in 2021, like if she's just that good, however she was there, she's the best in this field. She like he said, there was a long recovery process. Yeah, I think before she got hurt, her and Mal were right next to each other. Like Mal would finish third in the world in the quarterfinals. Emma finished fourth in the world. They were neck and neck every competition they did.
Including semifinals that year, where she actually won.
Including semifinals. She beat Mal, correct?
I think she was second, and Mal
was third. Like they were neck and neck. And I'm not saying she's as good as Mal, but she got hurt and then recovered, and Mal flourished and went to Fraser's and is, super great. Like Emma's potential is more than people think. She's kind of like the forgotten name, but her and Mal were neck and neck until she got hurt and Mal took off. I almost think she's going to win this running away. Like, I don't think she's.
How old is she now? Is she 20? Is she? How old is she now?
She's 18.
18. I don't think she's going to win a bunch of events, but I think she'll get like second in everything. That's how I see her.
She's really strong. I mean, that year at semifinal, she snatched 200 pounds. We talked about.
She's a great swimmer.
She's fine in the water. Gymnastics, great. I really do think that she already had everything that like all the kind of pieces were there, but that just basically putting the movement patterns, taking a little bit more focus on that, the work that she's done the past year, is that she's just moving overall better now. And yeah, I mean, it is an unknown field. Like there's a big question mark about Emma Carey, of course. Sarah Sigmarsdottir, of course. Emma Tall didn't do this season because of injury. Emily Rolfe had to withdraw from the games. Like there's a lot of little unknowns. Andrea Nista was on a team. Spiegel's the one we know the most about of this group, I guess. But I think that people are going to be pleasantly surprised by what they see from Emma Carey.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting too, because I do think she's kind of like been forgotten about, and I think it's going to be like allow me to reintroduce myself party for her.
Great quote. What about the pressure of the event? Young, 2 years out of the limelight, and it's going to be noisy over there at Wodapalooza.
The main reason I was considering not picking her is I don't want her to feel any pressure. I hope that she's going there and just competing free and competing confident. She will be aggressive in attack workouts. That's what she does. But yeah, hopefully she can enjoy it, and this can be a good like turning point for her to get some confidence back and say like, yep, I'm ready to be back out there and do my thing.
Devesh Maharaj, the hammer. She was better than Mal, but Mal took off and she got hurt. She has potential to be better, but we will see where she is now.
I was just going to say, like the one thing about that semifinals, that was the Granite Games in 2021. And Mal actually did get her on the last workout, but if I remember correctly,
she took that risk.
It was that double dumbbell overhead walking lunge at the end, and it was a very notable difference in approach. Both of them had locked up a spot to the games already at this point, and I think Emma decided to go for it.
She went to go unbroken because she could win the whole thing if she won that event.
And instead of winning that workout, she faded to 17th, and she just kept trying and failing, and it cost her what probably would have been the overall win. And so it ended up going Ariel, then Mal. Mal took the more calculated approach, set him down, and went and ended up taking second on the workout and second overall. But to this person, comment section's point, they were on par with each other at that point. Yes.
No, Jeff, I don't make any money, but it just rains pussy on me. Okay. The question was, Sevan, do you make a lot of money through YouTube? Can we switch over to the boys? What do you guys think about starting at the top for the boys?
Fine.
It's up to y'all.
Okay, fine. Then we'll start at the bottom again and race up. I was giving you guys an out. Okay, here we go. Let's start at the bottom, Mr. Beaver. We will try to move fast. No more dilly-dallying. No more reading the comments. Okay.
I'm just going to say this while we're done. Multiple people have messaged me about Ray Romanic and have said that this guy injured himself during semifinals last year, but that he's basically a savage beast. And this happens occasionally where there's one guy that all of a sudden gets a bunch of attention, and like people are telling me, watch this guy, watch this guy, watch this guy. Last year it was Riley Good coming into this competition, and he finished basically exactly where I picked him, which was near the bottom. So Ray Romanic, everyone's telling me you're amazing, told me you're a great swimmer, gymnast, and absolute animal who has the potential to be top 10 in a semifinal. Let's see what you got.
No pressure.
Number 39, we have one more individual man competing than the women. We had 38 women. We have 39 men. Lucas Ozarki, Lucas Grulev, Fernando Yanza, and Ray Romanoff.
Excellent.
Thank you. I see a name I recognize. Benjamin Gutierrez, Travon Benton, Samuel Paquin, Tiago Luzes is 32, and 31, Artur Semenov. Is that the next hope coming out of Russia, this Artur guy?
Well, he made the games this past year. So first of all, Ben Gutierrez has some really impressive lifting numbers listed. So I'm excited to see what he can do on the clean and jerk at the very least. Trayvon Benton, he's a semifinal guy in North America. I think he's getting better. We'll see. Samuel Paquin actually won the RX division last year at Wodapalooza. Now he's made it into the elite division. So well done, Samuel. Tiago Luzes is a guy from Portugal that I'm kind of interested in general, but he's underwhelmed in the competitions he's done in the offseason so far, one of which I believe was Madrid. And Artur Semenov, he made the games last year. I think it was a little bit, I don't have a lot to say about the Asian semifinals. I don't know. He was injured at the game, so it was hard to say how good he actually is. And we'll see. I mean, I'm hopeful that he comes. Both him and Keelan Henry are in this field. Both of them come from qualify from Asia and Africa, respectively, and both of them had a hamstring injury at the game. So we basically got to see, a fraction of what their potential might be. So I'm hoping. I'm hopeful that he's really good and he can prove me wrong. I've spoken to a couple of people who know him a little better than I do, and they said that it was fortunate for him to make the semifinals last year or the games last year. They don't expect him to be able to do it again, but certainly
Keelan or
Artur. But it certainly commend him for coming to Miami here. I think he should. It's a great opportunity. Like I said, it's hard to make this field. So hopefully he does well.
How old is he?
Artur. 1 sec. Not sure.
What made me think of that question is the fact that you don't expect him to make it back. So I'm guessing also
29.
Okay, so he has a small window to improve. Is Keelan Henry at Wodapalooza?
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's scroll to number 30. Jack Rosema. Oh, I know that name. John Wood. Great name. Cam Crockett. Wow, these are all great names. Philip Muscarella and Nate Ackerman. How do I know Jack Rosema? Zealous Games or something?
Yeah. And basically, Jack, John, and Cam are all semifinals. Maybe like 15th ish semifinal this past year. So very good. Philip Muscarella, he's also competing on a team with Dennis Samsonov. Their team took 4th place last year at Wodapalooza. I think he's very, very fit, very fun to watch, but I think better in a team competition than individual. And then Nate Ackerman is the last time he competed at the CrossFit Games, he won the teenage division. That was 2 seasons ago.
So for me, what's he done since then? For me, I'm always interested in these guys who are going to make the leap. Obviously, we've seen a lot of women do it, but for me, this is, as a fan, this is like, after looking at the top guys, I'm more interested in the people who are going to make the leap than, let's say, the bottom 10 or 20 at the CrossFit Games. Is Nate on track to becoming a household name in our little CrossFit world?
Go ahead.
I'd say the jury's out. I think he's making intelligent moves. He's training down there at Brute. Coach Dom, I believe, is his coach, but he's there with Sprague and Dallin and Fee and Danielle and Emma and the whole crew. So I think he's put himself in an environment where he's challenged daily. He's very strong for a young man, which is often a difficult thing to acquire when you're young. But that's what we see with these guys that are coming along, like Guy, very strong young, was able to make the transition. Dallin's pretty strong, able to make the transition. Jack Farlow's pretty strong. He's someone we're looking at. So Nate's a couple years behind those guys, but he has that similar like flag in his cap or something where he's very strong. He's put himself in a good environment. So I think he's setting himself up for the best chance to make it to the games. But I don't think he has any chance to make it to games this year, but next year, maybe.
He was 100 guys outside of the semifinal last year, outside of making semifinals.
How old is he? Do we know? 19? 18. So, and then basically, if Dallin and Sprague and Emma are the experiment, version 1 coming out of the Brute Camp, he could be version 2, meaning there's a lot of chance for him to learn what worked and didn't work for the 3 people who've made the leap from teens to games already ahead of him in the same camp. All right, cool. Good luck, Nate. I'm excited to watch you, brother. Good luck. And I bet she has good parents or shitty parents, and he's just trying to. His
mom is I think she's a multiple-time games athlete too, Julie Ackerman.
Okay, then I'm going to go with good parents. Okay, 25, because you could always have really shitty parents, and then you got to do something amazing too.
Kike.
Excuse me.
Pronounce this, Brian.
That's
excuse me.
How's he helping you?
What the fuck is that name?
Kike Cerveni.
Is that really how you say his name?
No, it's Kaike.
Kaike. I bet you it is Kike, and they just have to say Kaike.
He sent me and Brian a DM pronouncing his name because we didn't know how to pronounce it, and we still didn't know how to pronounce it after listening to him. We still had no clue.
Did he send you a voice DM or he says it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Canceled. Yes, definitely canceled. Okay. So he's been around. We recognize the name.
He was at Wadapalooza last year. He was 32nd. I think he'll do a little better this year. He's from Brazil.
Okay. Casper
Gammelmark, Danish guy. Yeah, one of the top one of the most fit guys in Denmark.
He probably plays the board game Clask.
Very tall guy.
We had the inventor of Clask on. It's the most popular board game in Denmark. I play it with my kids regularly. Damian Martinez Satores.
It's actually, I'm just kind of laughing thinking about the size of Damian compared to Casper. They're like polar ends of the spectrum. Damian's smaller guy. Casper's big. Damian's from Spain. You saw him win one of the Zalos Games workouts. He competed in Dubai. Didn't have
he won the Zalos Games.
He won the workout and he won it overall. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Who did? Damian Satores did?
Yeah. Actually, maybe that's how he qualified for this. Did he do the
but he wasn't at the event. He won.
No, the online, because the event was just showcasing it, and then you could do it online. He won the whole thing.
And then Peter Mason was at the Zelos Games.
Yes.
And he was. I remember him being fast, right? He's a speedy guy, fast mover.
He was third in the Royal Flush workout, the clean burpee, thruster burpee workout.
What you were supposed to do?
Damian was first. Yeah, I was concussed at the time. Brian, leave me alone.
Yeah, a small car accident. If Sevan followed Craig Ritchie, he would know more of these overseas athletes. Okay. Sevan thinking Brian called him something rude. Yes. My whole family, all the generations. I felt everyone turn. I'm not even Jewish. What am I talking about? Peter Mason. Okay, so he fast mover, young kid, right? He's young.
Pete Mason, 20s.
I feel like I see him in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's another Mason.
27.
He's 27.
If you are watching now and you haven't subscribed to this station, I hope someone parks too close to you today and dings your car.
John, do you have any of these 5 in the top 20?
Let me look. I have Peter Mason 20th. That's the highest out of those 5.
Where do you have Raquelme?
22nd.
Okay.
Augustine Raquelme, number 21, as ranked by Brian Friend from Barbend. Games athlete.
Yeah.
Yep.
But not great showings. Not great showing at the games.
The weights are just too heavy when he gets there.
32nd the year before, but there were like 6 withdraws or 7 withdraws that year. So it's basically third to last, and then 38th this year, which was second to last with 1 withdraw. So much, again, some of these athletes I've mentioned that you're going to see a better version of Riquelme at this competition than you'll see at the CrossFit Games.
He did win an open workout worldwide, though, first in the whole world, bar muscle up. The one with the toes to bar, chest to bar, and then bar muscle ups with a minute in between, if you guys remember that one.
I don't, but are you saying he's going to win an event here too?
John
No.
hasn't seen all the events yet, but there is one event that I think he could be in the mix to win.
If it's just gymnastics and not heavy barbell in between, like he's, especially on a rig, he's very, like, best in the world.
All right. Augustin Riquelme. Well, where's he from? France?
Argentina.
Oh, all right. Number 20, breaking into the top 20, moving quite along. So we did the first 20 in 15 minutes. Not bad. Number 20
Spencer's not competing. My bad.
Number 20, Austin Spencer. Brian says he's out. Those of you who don't remember, Austin Spencer replaced, I'm just showing off for Brian now, replaced Nikolai. Replaced the guy who popped for God damn it. What is it? Nikolai Joyel?
Nicholas
Joyel.
We gave you a chance. We gave you a fair chance.
Thank you. I believe it. If we weren't at an hour and 45 minutes, you probably could have given me another 10 seconds. So Austin Spencer won't be there. Injured? Do we know what happened to him? His wife said he can't come.
Not sure. She's competing on a team, though.
Oh, okay. So he'll probably be there. Does he make it to the games again? Or you think that was just a fluke?
I don't think so.
He's a good
I
dude.
think he's more likely to make it than Fusile.
Wow. Okay. Well, I like the way you contextualize that. That's why you're on the show. Number 19, Keelan Henry, who was on this show. He is jacked out of his mind. If you are going to be at Wadapalooza, take a picture next to this guy with his shirt off.
Yeah, I know you really like that guy.
He is a freak of nature. He's got a chip on his shoulder, too. He got a little bitterness in him, a little axe to grind.
I have Keelan 21st.
Okay, so a similar spot. I think Keelan actually would have done quite well at a few events at the games this past summer. I learned a lot about him by spending some time with his coach, Dennis, who also coaches Guillaume Briand. And I'm hopeful that Keelan's healthy. He is a smaller guy. He's very strong. He's in a similar category to Augustin Riquelme, where on certain styles of workouts can do very well. I think like there's maybe 1 or 2 events here where we might see something like a 5th place finish from him.
Leonel Franco. I remember struggling with his name in the past. Where is he from? Dubai? Did I see him in Dubai?
I don't know about any major off-season competitions, but he was 10th place at a semifinal at Granite Games this year, and I think he was maybe 2nd or 3rd on the opening event, which was the handstand walk thruster.
Okay, and then making the jump from teams to individual this year at the games is the challenge for this young man, Luke Parker. Definitely someone I definitely want to be keeping my eyes on. Do you guys think he makes it individual this year?
No, not this year, but I think he could next year.
Brian?
I like that answer.
Okay.
Where'd
Henry,
you place him?
and is he also going teams also?
Who?
Luke Parker? I mean,
he's not listed for a team for Wadapalooza, no.
Okay. Henrik Happelainen, I'm surprised you have him at 16th. You like this guy, Brian. You have good. I mean, you think this guy's going to the games next year, right?
Out of Europe, it's going to be tight.
It is?
He has the ability to win certain events too, though.
Every single
High-power
person-
output sprints.
Yeah, every single person from this point forward has a chance to make the games next year.
Okay.
If the cards hit right.
Where do you have Henrik?
12th.
Okay, so a little higher than me. And I think that's perfectly fair. Based on his performances historically, having him ahead of a few guys that I'm about to have here makes sense. I'm just expecting some guys to maybe outperform their past performances.
You do know the event, so I mean that can lead it one way or the other.
How many more times do you think John's going to say that during the show? I think it's important to say. 2 more times? 5 more times. Okay. Number 15.
I only say that because of who he picked for 3rd.
Or since probably viewers change every 15 minutes, so it's good that you say that. Number 15, Cole Grieshaber. I trip on this dude's physique. I just trip on this dude. He's
John,
like part muscle man, part baby Huey. What?
Okay.
Everyone from here on out, I want to know where John
I
has
have
it.
Cole 14th.
Okay, similar.
Something's not fully matured about Cole. Let me see this guy's Instagram.
Just so while he's pulling that up, Cole's he's still training with the Proven Crew. He's very, he's very deliberate about when he chooses to compete. From a young age, he's already doing something that I think is very wise, which is maybe basically one competition per off season, and then trying to improve upon his previous game season performance. He was able to do that last year. I think he's probably setting himself up to do it this year, but because he does that, we don't get to see him too often. He's not a very loud person in general. He's very private, disciplined, hardworking. I think that a big hurdle for him has been his mental game during competition. And this will be a good competition for him to test that, because he'll probably have some good workouts, and he'll have some where he'll get a little bit exposed against a very high caliber men's field.
He's a very good deadlifter too. If any deadlift workout comes in, he could. I don't know if
he looks win. He does look like a strong deadlifter. That's what I'm tripping on. He looks like a power lifter. I mean, he kisses girls. That's cool. But there's something about him that just makes me think like he's like James Sprague 2 years ago or something. You guys know what I'm talking about? Oh shit, no. That's a good picture of him. Fuck. Wow. Cole's
a beast.
Look at these legs on him.
But it's hard. The men's field is very deep and very talented.
How tall is this dude?
At least 6 feet, maybe 6'1".
And I see the photo credits Proven, so he's under Shane Orr over there at Proven.
Yeah, I don't think he would say that Shane's his primary coach, but he's training at Proven. Yeah,
he's 6 foot 206.
Well, he doesn't look underdeveloped in that picture, or this one. All right, keep my mouth shut about him. Is that Matt O'Keefe on the left there? Who's that? Matt O'Keefe's twin.
Upshaw, and then the right is Nick Johnston. Those are two of the other coaches at Proven. I would say that I don't know their full coaching staff, but in my mind, it was Shane and then these two guys.
Is that dude in the red that kind of looks like Matt O'Keefe a little right there?
He kind of looks like Dex Hopkins.
Right.
It's weird when I know both of them that it's like
okay, so here you can kind of see how big Cole is. There he is next to Dallin Pechberg, James Sprague, Emma Carey, Tudor Magda, and which one of those guys is Nate Ackerman?
Nate, I can't.
On the gray shorts.
No, I think Nate is on the very far side next to the guy in red.
Next to Torres.
I think that's him. This has got to be from a couple years ago. No?
Are you sure?
107 weeks ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The guy in the gray shorts looks like he might have a hole in his stomach, or that's just like a smudge of dirt on him. I don't know what that is.
I mean, if that's Nate Ackerman, I'm going to have to drop him a couple spots.
I guess someone in the comments saying he's no longer with Proven, Sevan. So I apologize if that's not the case.
It happens. These guys are switching. These guys are switching so much. Okay. Thank you, Caleb, for letting me.
Maybe that person could tell us where he is.
Man, the controls. Matt Poulin, a name I'm always hearing, but I still don't know what the hell.
Where'd you put him, John?
I have this guy 11th. He's part of Brute. He was in a game spot last year until the last event, and then it slipped by him in the last event. He's not the strongest guy, and I think the last event was heavy cleans or snatches. It was heavy squat snatches at Mac, I believe. And he got passed up. Syndicate. And he got passed up in the last event.
By Will Morad.
Yeah. Will Morad's historic event.
Poulin, very similar to Oyana Moya last year at Wodapalooza. I wrote about him in that same article. He was, I think, in a position to finish about somewhere between 8th and 12th. And just for a point of reference, those places were occupied by Spencer Saxon, Scott Panchik, Taylor Self, and Jason Hopper. And he was in the conversation with those athletes at Wodapalooza last year before having to withdraw with injury. I feel like John nailed it on the head here. This guy's been like very close to knocking through it and making a name for himself, and just something happens, a little injury, the bad movement at the wrong time that's preventing him from getting maybe the recognition he deserves. Very high level of fitness. I think he was second or third place on the rowing, swing, running workout last year, along with like James Sprague and Taylor Self was up there in that conversation. So pretty good on a lot of different stuff. hopefully can just string together like a full competition.
And his engine is elite. He just doesn't have. He's not the strongest.
You know, this is just completely talking out of my ass, but I'm getting this vibe from him that he's not a full-time athlete, that he's just a guy who's just super duper into fitness and just happens to be shoulders above the rest. Lover of Yahweh, seeker of the truth. I'm just getting this vibe from him that's like he's just a cool dude who just trains his ass off in the gym and the games of he stumbled upon the games. Maybe I'm wrong. You know anything about his training, Brian?
John's right. I think he's been addressing his strength and particularly his strength overhead. And he seems very confident. He always seems confident, presents himself confident, but like we've said, he has a good base to build upon. And if he has shored up some of those things that he believes are holding him back, he is very, very fit.
Looks like he has an MBA. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Keep hearing his name. Good to finally see if
he's the kind of guy that like in 2013, 14, he would have just made the games.
Right.
But now it's a lot harder. And so he's exceptionally fit, but it's just that much more difficult.
Anol Akai, I'm trying to get Anol on the show.
I think he's scheduled for one.
Is he? I know we were trying to.
I got an invite.
All right, we disagree on this one, Brian.
Where'd you put him?
I have him 18th.
Yeah, I mean, Anol, he second place in Madrid. There have been some, controversies about his movement quality and some of those things, but that's not really, it's really nothing he can do. If he goes out there and competes and is moving and the judges are giving him credit for the reps, we've talked about this over and over again, you're not going to change anything.
What country?
Spain. He's one of those guys from that training culture that we've been talking about. And then he came and he got sixth place in Dubai, including beating guys like Luka Jukic, Guillaume Briand, Yorgos Kervis. And you see, I have him here very close to Guillaume Briand. So he's basically come out of nowhere. I mean, this off season, and I'm already elevating him into the conversation of having the chance to make it to the games out of Europe.
Is he going team?
Oh, he will be on a team at Wadapalooza also. Yeah. He's competing with those guys from the training culture team, Alex and Pablo.
Okay.
Briand, they were the top qualifier.
He's
really?
very tall. He's like 6'2", but he's got a really good engine.
You said that his team had the top qualifier?
They were the top qualifying team, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Were any of the teams allowed to come on invite, or all teams had to qualify?
No, there's several teams were able to be invited.
And it's based on some criteria, like 2 games athletes or something, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different criteria, but I think even if your team was top 10 at the games and you have both athletes on your team, then you could add anyone else to it and automatically show up.
Briand Guillaume, I just remember him, France, and supposed to be a good swimmer, but didn't win the swim event.
No, but that was heavily favored.
It was a ski though.
Guillaume, pretty good. Again, he just competed in Dubai. Really good upper body pulling.
Not good enough.
Skiing is not upper body. Well, I guess it is.
I mean, for gymnastics, I'm thinking more gymnastics.
Yeah.
Chest to bar, legless rope climb, those types of things.
He's similar to Raquelme. But really
good.
swimmer.
Their names are similar too in my mind. That's good. I like it that they're similar. Fabian Benito Celis, a lot of fun, not bad controversy, but a lot of controversy around his most recent win. Where was that at? Was that Madrid or Dubai?
Dubai. John, where'd you put Fabian?
13th.
Okay.
I know you really like this guy.
Well, again, as you know, similarly to Cole Grieshaber, the biggest question mark for me is and has been his mental game in the midst of competitions. When things don't go his way, how does he rebound from it? He showed, in my opinion, a big improvement in that regard in Dubai. He's been kind of knocking on the door of having the possibility to make the games the last 2 years out of Europe. And like I said, everyone inside this top 15 I view as having the chance to make the games this year, including Fabian. He was that top online qualifier for this event. He was the top online qualifier for Dubai. He won the Dubai live competition. So he's having an incredible offseason. I think this is the biggest and most difficult field he's faced yet. And I think a top 10 finish here would be a big win for him.
Is he going team?
No.
Okay. Number 10, we did it. Holy cow. We're going to finish by 2:15, I think. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Number 10, Alexander Caron, the guy with the giant triceps from Canada.
I also have Alexander Caron.
And just to put it in perspective, he was second place at Wadapalooza last year, and we're picking him 10th. So the field is good.
Nick Matthew, the pride of pride, exploded onto the scene at the CrossFit Games, put on the wonderful show.
Did you stutter?
Did I stutter?
Yeah, the pride of what?
The pride of pride.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Minnesota.
Nick Matthew wears the crop top, had that explosion kind of on the game scene, did the sandbag in the sandbag event, and the crowd absolutely went nuts and loves him. But still only number 9 here at Wadapalooza Individual.
I bet John has him higher. How much higher?
I have him 7th.
Yeah, 7th. And I think that's reasonable.
Why put Dallin and Tudor ahead of him? What's your reason?
So basically this is like when I was going through for the men's side, there were again, there was like some tiers or some drop-offs, and everyone on this page I actually kind of considered in a similar reign or grouping. I don't know. I'm not that confident.
I know why you did.
There's someone did call me out and say, Nick,
there's no single unders in this competition. Is that why?
Yeah, no, basically it's that I think that Tudor is getting a lot better. And I think that we got to see some instances of it at the Zalos games. And I think we'll get to see more impressive performances from him at Wadapalooza. But no, Nick easily, I mean, he definitely could beat those guys. Yeah.
Here's what I think. Nick, we're still a little unsure of because he's new to the scene. Tudor, we're uncertain of, but it shows tremendous promise, but we're uncertain of. But Dallin's the guy. If he says he's gonna pick you up at 9:00, he's there at 8:54, and you look out your front door and he's sitting there in his car. Like, he's consistent, he's reliable. We know what he's about. We like his not that we don't like the other guys' characters, but there's a stability in Dallin Pepper that we like. And if you have to choose between the 3 of them to drive your kids to school, you pick Dallin Pepper.
Where did you put Tudor and Dallin?
Give me a second. I had Tudor is 8th, Dallin is 6th.
Where'd you have Yona?
So, I have Yona 9th.
So again, the same 5 guys, just different order.
Yeah, same 5 guys, just different order. I have Dallin ahead of Nick Matthew as well. Nick has done the best at the games, hasn't he? Out of all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I get he kind of got lucky with the events, but still,
I do think the events are pretty good for him actually at Wadapalooza. I could definitely see him outperforming a 9th place finish.
I think that if Dallin Pepper got stuck on the toilet, like had some explosive diarrhea, and John went out on the field and did the event for him, that 80% of the people wouldn't know it was John Young. And then
until the last 5 minutes when everyone was done and they're like, what's Dallin still doing out there?
You got to pick the right event.
I think John Young could be a total stunt double for Dallin. Number 6, Yana Koski, 6, crazy.
And see, like with Yona,
crazy. I mean,
I know he's still young, but I feel like he's getting passed up. Kind of like how Noah got passed up a little bit. He's still there, but I just think he's getting passed up.
As
opposed to like Scott Panchik never got passed up. He just was.
But you have to look at Yona Koski's career. I mean, let's see here. 32nd at the games, 10th at the games. Withdraws from the games, 9th at the games.
Wow.
37th at the games, 7th, 6th, and then 15th. So he just has this like up and down.
And then 15th. But yeah, that's not an up and down year. It's either trash or really good. And then it was 15th.
Yeah, but
I think
we could say the
15th
same
is where
thing
he's
for
at
Brent.
now.
We could say the same thing for Brent Fikowski.
Brent Fikowski's 4th.
No. This is a different. Like this year was a different caliber of men's field. BKG was standing there after the games on the Coliseum floor, going, "What the fuck? This is the worst I've done since, and that's the fittest I've been." The men's field is just getting better. I don't think Yona is coming back from an injury last year and an illness during semifinals and was forced to do the last chance qualifier and therefore less preparation for the games. He's been getting better every competition that he's done. But he's doing a lot of competing, and I'm not a huge fan of a lot of competing. He did Rogue, he did Dubai, now he's doing Wadapalooza. There's very few athletes that do all 3 of those. We know Rogue was a beatdown. He did pretty well in Dubai, he took 4th, And now, I think he'll still do well against this field, but the volume of competition is adding up. And if John's right that he's a little later in his career than his age suggests, I don't know if that's the best decision.
Is Koski go ahead, John. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. This is an afterthought.
Is he team? Is he going team?
Yep. I think he's on Nick Matthews' team.
Okay, so he's putting some miles on it. Yeah, I remembered Yana being like a potential podium finisher every year, but there was always the question of his injury, of some shoulder or something going on. There was something, that was bugging him.
Yep.
Okay.
Come out with a grand prize that we agree on, and if like you win Dubai, Rogue, and Wadapalooza, you get like $1 million. If you win all three,
that would be so sick.
Would it not? Like,
then people would show up.
Exactly. It would be so.
Or at least the person who won Dubai, wins the first one would.
Right.
Well, or it'd be like just a little point system. The best, the best points across those
No,
three.
I don't like a point system. I think you have to win all three.
Then if you lose in Rogue, then no one else from Rogue has any incentive to do the other two.
That's fine. Just one person gets a shot at it every year. But if you do a point system, then freaking Matt wins $1 million. It's a free $1 million to whoever the fittest person is. You know what I mean? We already know that for the most part.
Top 5?
Okay. Number 5. Oh, well, this kind of explains it. I was like, how could you have Janikowski at 6? This is crazy.
Okay, John, you have the same 5 guys in the top 5, but what's your order?
Yes. Okay. Do we want to go one by one?
Yeah, let's go one by one. Number 5, who do you have?
I have Guy Malheiros.
And Brian has Brent Fikowski.
Let's just go through the top 5 and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, number 4, Brian has Patrick Vellner.
I have Brent Fikowski.
Number 3, Brian has Guy Malheiros.
I got Ricky Garrard.
Wow, okay. Number 2, Brian has Roman Krenikov.
I also have Roman Krenikov.
And number 1, Brian has Ricky Garrard.
I got Patty V.
Wow, okay. That's kind of got to break Brian's heart too, because I'm sure he wanted to put Patty V up there.
Oh, I think he's surprised I had him up there. I think he thought I put Roman up there.
I did.
Yeah.
But I don't know many people that are as big of a Roman fan as you are.
No,
and
that's
a lot
fair.
of people are big Roman fans.
That's fair.
What's the issue? Why not have Brent Fikowski win this whole thing? What do you see that makes it? Is it?
Case in point.
Are these other guys better than Fikowski, or do you think that he's going to lose it himself? Do you think it's on him? He's going to make some sort of
They're better.
Because I find it hard to believe these guys are better than him.
Well, he's not, but the rest of them are.
I think Brent will, as he always does, will maximize his potential in this competition. I think he will do as well as anyone with his skill set could possibly do in this competition. But with these guys in the field and these workouts, this is the best I think he can do.
John, do you want to say anything about Mr. Fikowski?
I think the people that I have ahead of the top 3 for sure, Ricky, Roman, and Patrick, I think are in a tier above Fikowski. I think there's a separation there. I think I put them like they're just better, at least right now until he proves that wrong.
Brian, this placement you have of Guy and Patrick, that you have Guy ahead of Patrick, is that because you know the workouts or because you think Guy's a better CrossFitter?
It's because I think Guy will do better in this competition.
Okay. Because you don't have any concerns.
I still would have picked Vellner ahead of Guy at Rogue. I will pick him ahead of him at the games for now, until I see more from Guy. But I also just have this sneaky suspicion that we're going to see a little different version of Guy than we've seen in the past at Wadapalooza. And I also think that this competition is the best of all the major competitions for him.
What about the fact that you're going to Mayhem after this competition? Is there any chance that you felt bad if you put Guy lower because you'd have to face him there?
Him and Roman both. Yeah. Bring it on. 2-on-1. Let's go, guys.
Okay. Let's talk about Ricky Garrard in first place here. So you think I'm nervous for Ricky because I keep thinking that he's just going to fall off, that he's just reaching an age where he's just going to fall into, like what you were saying about maybe Janikowski. You think Ricky's still on the ascent?
A question for you too, Brian.
Okay. Well, first of all, he's 28. Roman's 27, Pat's 32, and Brent's 31, and Yona's 27. He's at 22. So he's the same age as most of these guys. So
20. Okay. 22 is, okay. And Guy is definitely significantly younger. There's a big difference between 22 and 27.
So yeah, 27, 28, 27, 31, 32. So I'm not worried about Ricky's age. He's actually right in the prime of the normal competitive years where people have their best years, 26 through 28, I guess, for men. And I know that Rogue was a bad competition for him, but John and I both picked him to do about that well on Rogue because we know the style of programming that shows up here. But we know the style of programming that shows up at Wodapalooza, and it's very different. And we often see guys like Cole Sager, for example, do really well at Wodapalooza and struggle at Rogue. And I think that Ricky's in line to have that similar type of an offseason.
But let me ask you. So Ricky's a home run hitter. He's he's going to win events that are high endurance or straight running, or like all ring muscle ups and running, like any running event or just long endurance event. Wodapalooza is only going to have one or two of those. It's not like the games where there's 5 of those. If you're talking straight CrossFit, Vellner's a better CrossFitter. Roman is a better CrossFitter. They're both going to beat him in all the CrossFit events where it's couplets, triplets, all that type of stuff. Roman will dominate him in machines. So will Vellner. He's not good at machines. Like he's very, very good, best in the world at a particular type of workout. Probably the most important workout of the games because there's the most running at the games. That's not going to happen here.
Look at from the Fantasy Fitness League, Tyler Watkins, which will be doing the draft tonight at 5 p.m. I can't believe we're doing another show.
Tyler, you hated on Roman until I told you he was going to be good. I said he was going to be good at the games, and you said he wasn't even going to come top 10.
Look at John's got an ally, and he just attacked.
John I just don't think what you said is accurate. You know how difficult that this is. These are his event finishes at the games. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 1st, 3rd, 10th, 7th, 7th. Like that's a shitload of top 10 finishes. That's consistency.
Who's that? Who was that? Vellner?
That's Ricky.
Oh, Ricky.
Now, he had a few finishes outside of the top 10. Back 9, not that surprising. He's not the strongest. Obviously, it's a very strong field. Jackie Pro, I was surprised how bad he did in that, finishing 18th. Not sure. I'm not really actually sure what happened to him on that one. And Echo Press, where he was obviously exposed. And Hat Trick, which was just he was like 2 seconds outside of a top 10 finish. He was 12th. So he's stringing together the type of consistency at the games last season that is indicative of a games champion in some years. It's not very much different with that one workout exception, the 28th on Echo Press, of what Justin Medeiros has done the last 2 years. Very consistent, not a ton of wins, but a lot of finishes, 5th through 7th, that range. And then and not too bad on anything. When we see the full slate of workouts here, I think that you might see Ricky having a chance to win this.
We'll see. How's
Roman swimming? How's Roman
the best
swimming?
CrossFitter. He's good, but
Fine.
He's not. I wouldn't say he's top 5, but he's good.
He's not as good as Ricky.
If you're looking at these guys
I don't know. I don't know how.
If you're looking at these 5 guys in particular for swimming, it's going to be Brent,
Bukowski,
and Ricky. Then it's going to be Roman, then Guy, and then Pat. Most likely.
He's a decent swimmer, I think, isn't he?
I think he'd be closer to Roman than Pat on swimming. Now, Guy is a little unknown. He won the swimming workout at his semifinal, but again, in South America, it's hard to say how good of that performance it actually is.
Mark Moss has to be pretty high weightlifting, low gymnastics, and Spiegel is top 3. I don't know, man.
Well,
Spiegel's
Ricky would not be first if that was the case, Mark. Just letting you know.
But there's also, like, if weightlifting is in the competition, there are different kinds of ways to test weightlifting.
Absolutely. We
know there's a heavy lift, and we know that it's offset by a handstand hold. Danny Spiegel is going to probably do well on both of those things. That is I would say that's an unknown for Ricky. How is his clean and jerk he's been getting stronger. How's it going to hold up against this field? And the parallel handstand hold is a little bit of a wild card event, but I am expecting the athletes overall to do really well.
Oh, Roman did win the swim event at the games?
Yeah, but he was so heavily dependent on the ski.
He is the greatest at the ski erg and everybody. He is the best ski erg person in all of CrossFit.
Hands down?
Hands down. Nobody's close. Hopper's
Did you
second.
see that thing they posted the other day where he was ripping on it? What was it, like
3,100 cows an hour.
Crazy.
Hopper is like, I think, a clear second, but Roman is above him.
What is Wadapalooza known for in terms of events? If Rogue's the strong event, what's Wadapalooza?
What would you say, John?
I would say Wadapalooza is pretty well rounded. I would say they have more gymnastics events than Rogue does for sure, and probably Dubai, but they're pretty well rounded usually, typically.
I think that in what I would say, yeah, I think that's a good answer. And then they also just program fun events, like events that are fun and flashy to watch, where the races might be kind of close. You're going to get probably a lot of workouts that are 6 to 12 minutes long, with maybe one that's 20 minutes and a lifting event and a water event.
Can we look at that list one more time? Brian, as you look at this, is there anything you want to change on here? Do you stick with this from yesterday?
Probably. I mean, just being super transparent, probably my biggest regret is I would have maybe put Nick Matthew 1 or 2 spots higher. Other than that, I feel really good about it.
John, tell us your top 5 again, starting with 1.
Number 1, Patrick Vellner. My reason for that is he's won freaking 3 straight times. He's the reigning champion. He's very good. Like Wadapalooza. You're talking about like you think Wadapalooza suits ski. I mean, Vellner has flourished at Wadapalooza more than anybody else.
Okay.
And then Roman, and then Ricky, Brent Fikowski 4th, and then Guy 5th. I had Guy 6th, but after I saw Brian put him 3rd, I did just put him a spot higher because I was like, why does he have him so high?
So do you think that of these top 5, who do you think is going to have the lowest placement in any workout?
Brent.
Probably Pat.
I was gonna say Guy.
You think swim?
You think it's gonna be Brent? Okay, so there's something crazy there's something crazy on there. I don't want to get Brian in trouble, but he's said a couple of things that now, I mean, if
you don't think it's Vellner in the swim, Brian?
I'm actually pretty excited for the swimming workout because
I don't know how long the swim is, right?
If Vellner doesn't drown, he has a chance. Coffee pods and watts.
It's I love that they announced it as open water swimming. There's no fixed distance. You do know the time cap, so you can make somewhat of an inference. But 100 heavy wall balls and 300 drag rope double unders is gonna do some damage to some athletes. I think Vellner will do pretty well on those 2 parts of it. So I actually think this could be one of his better swimming performances.
That's fair. That's fair.
What do you think about this? What Halpin is saying? I was thinking this too by reading the comments. I don't think people realize that Danny Spiegel is as well rounded as she is. I think they look at her body, they look at her heavy lifts, and they think she's just a strong girl. But she's more well rounded than I think people are giving her the.
Well, I mean, we talk about it all the time when I mentioned the 2021 semifinals where she, everyone was like, she was last on the ruck run. How can you even make the games? It's like, well, she was top 5 on the other 5 workouts. So she's pretty damn good.
Yeah, she's very good at gymnastics, and she's the strongest person there.
And somewhere I think at Rogue we saw one of the run events she was exposed on, but another run event she did well at. Which one didn't she?
No, that was at Granite Games, Minnesota mashup. I think she had a top 4 finish and there was like a mile of running in it or something like that.
Is that the one with the bike too, though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And she got bailed out for the bike then.
But she didn't give away. I just remember watching I was up in the broadcast booth that she didn't give very much away on the run, and I was actually pretty impressed after watching her the year before give everything away on the run.
I refuse to acknowledge anyone with a profile or a name like that. Yes, we do have a show coming up tomorrow. Thank you for asking.
Oh man.
All right, Logan Ewing. Logan,
Brian,
we
can
should
you
just
tell us?
I DM with you too much. I should just give you my phone number so we can text, dude. I feel bad for any of the Concept 2 machines that are in Rowan's lane. This guy trains with Roman over at.
Well, I mean, look, they've already announced that workout. That's 1,000-meter row, 20 D-ball cleans, and 300-foot D-ball bear hug carry. Could you pick a better workout for Roman, John?
It is second, though. I would put it first, right?
Is that Logan in the back right there?
You got that toe to bar thing first, and I feel like you probably go all out there.
It's a 4-minute time cap. I mean,
I know. I'm just saying. Think it'll put more juice into him than it will Fikowski. I bet Fikowski gives him a run on that particular workout.
And Luke
But-
Parker.
But no, God, no, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Can you answer us this? Are there any other machines other than that?
Maybe.
Okay, well, I thought
Is
you answered that.
Wadapalooza's known for? I feel like I see all the machines there every year. They got
There's
the
usually a
runners.
buy-
Thing is, yeah, but machines can show up in workouts and be irrelevant, and machines can show up in workouts and be everything. And if it's a
A
well-programmed
sprinting
workout,
machine event is what Roman's going to destroy everybody at.
and if it's a well-programmed workout, the machine will play a role but not be the deciding factor. That's my opinion about programming events with machines.
But I don't think there's a sprinting machine workout because that would hurt Ricky, and he has Ricky first. So I don't think there's a sprinty one.
You don't think the machine should be the deciding factor? Is that what you said, Brian?
I think it should be a contributing factor, not the deciding factor in a workout. Yeah.
Okay. Danny, he doesn't have time for this question now, but I appreciate it. I think you've asked it like 3 times. I had a question for Brian. Who are his 5 favorite CrossFit coaches? Maybe
5 favorite, like the ones that I'm best friends with, or the ones that I think are the best coaches.
Yeah, we
Very
got to
different.
flush that question out. But I appreciate the question.
I do think that there are a lot of very talented coaches that it would be a difficult list for me to make either way. Let's say that.
And there's coaches that you have no idea how good they are because they just have one athlete, right? I mean, like Rebecca Fuselier trains in
Sure.
in a silo.
Yeah,
With
I mean, I
with their
think we'd
dude.
have to have you'd have to give me a list of like a dozen that we say, okay, these are coaches that we all know and are established, and I could maybe pick 5 from that list or something.
Yeah, and like where do you rank Adam Knifer?
Super difficult. I mean, in terms of incredibly difficult.
I mean, is he on a mountaintop by himself or is he not in the top 10? So it would be like.
Very hard question.
But don't be stupid. Go to Fort Vancouver. CrossFit Fort Vancouver. Don't be stupid. Okay. Did I pronounce his name right? Is it Knifer? Or Knifer?
Hernandez.
Okay.
We've come full circle. We're done.
Okay. Everyone, at 5 p.m. today, we will be doing the draft. We will be using the platform Tyler Watkins Fantasy Fitness League. And it's called Lawn Chair Leaderboarding. Maybe you should Google that. Lawn Chair Leaderboarding. Check out the website. I'm not sure if there's an app for your phone yet. Get familiar with it. We are going to have the whole crew on. Everyone that this software can hold will be on tonight's show at 5 p.m. Your favorite will be here. No matter who your favorite is, he will be here tonight. Are you coming tonight, John?
I don't think I'm on the invite list. But
Oh shit. John's not on one of the teams?
He is on the team with
I'm
Chase.
on the team, but they said Chase we can't have everybody that's on the team, just one person.
Okay. Well, John Young will be an alternate. You could come over to my house and sit there. We could be on the same camera together.
Where do you live at? San Diego?
California, Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz.
No, Dave Castro won't be here. But so we'll see you at 5 p.m. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be starting bright and early. Same with the wonderful John Young, Brian Friend. We will be doing the teams, Wadapalooza competition, evaluations, rankings tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I don't know if Mike Halpin is on there. Is Mike Halpin coming?
No.
No, sorry, not everyone. Not John Young and Mike Halpin, everyone else. Isn't Mike Halpin in it too? He couldn't. Why
He's not in it.
He's not in it. Okay, Halpin, you didn't make it. Sorry, Mike.
God damn it, Sevan.
I'm screwing everything up. Nah, no one should be hurt. It's seriously, it's just a group of dorks. I think Chase is the only dude that's like a cool dude. Everyone else is just a dork. Yeah, I thought JR used to be cool, but after I interviewed him, JR is a dork too.
What about
Okay.
Bill?
Oh yeah, Grunler's cool.
The OGs are cool. Everyone else is a loser. That's what Sevan's saying.
No, we're just a bunch of dorky guys. It's just we're goofballs. Okay. We use utensils. Grunler eats with his hands. We'll see you guys today at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye-bye.